should have looked up the numbers, probably 80 or 90 sunspots there. And it looks like we've got something facing us head on as far as like a prominence goes. I remember seeing the info about the Carrington event, and they were saying, when they were looking at it, it went glowed bright white. Basically, they saw somebody manage to catch the ejection as it was heading towards us. And I was wondering if there was a chance to catch one off of this sunspot while it's facing us. But the signs are there, but I haven't seen anything that says any ejection has happened, and I didn't see anything glow bright white while I was observing. But I was hoping for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is all I can contribute to tonight's Global Star Party as I'm headed for
Oh yeah.
baseball Valhalla.
You have fun at your game.
I'm gonna try, and I'm just gonna try and stay alive so I can make the next Global Star Party.
Okay.
That's my
All
goal.
right. Well, you pay attention to the road then.
I am actually doing that. So I'll go. I will leave so that the others of you there can give them a great star party. I'll be sure to watch later on. Watch the presentations. Look forward to it.
Yeah, if you finish early enough, just go ahead and pop in and say hello.
Oh, I will.
Okay. Adrian.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye now. Oh, God. No.
Well, if you're tuning in right now, you are watching the 172nd Global Star Party with the theme of presence and perception. We have a great crew, as we always do, and we get start to kick off our presentation with David Levy and myself. So thanks a lot for again tuning in, and away we go. Okay, David, it's all yours.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you. And Scotty, thank you for the wonderful introduction. And with the theme of perception tonight, I'm going to offer you a poem by George Gordon Lord Byron. In 1816 to 1817, he wrote something called Manfred. And in the very first part of it, he writes something to which I will add a single line at the end. And it goes like this. When the moon is on the wave, and the glowworm in the grass, and the meteor on the grave, and the wisp on the morass, when the falling stars are shooting, and the answered owls are hooting, and the silent leaves are still, in the shadow of the hill, shall my soul be upon thine, with a power and with a sign, and tonight we will go out and observe online. Thank you, and back
Oh, that was cool. I almost want you to say it all over again. That was really nice.
Okay.
That was really nice. So,
Yeah.
David, it's been a little while since we've been on Global Star Party together. We are, it's been, I mean, totally socked in here in Arkansas. So I haven't been able to get out and do any stargazing at all. On occasions it would clear off and there would be a hole in the cloud and I would look at some stars and stuff. And even when I do, and I see like one or two stars out there, I'll take my Sky Safari app or whatever, and I'll go, aha, that's that bright star. And I'll read about how far away it is and any other details I can learn about that star. But, I mean, I don't know about you, David, because you've been in this so long, but I am literally starstruck, okay, by the concept of how far away, not a concept, but just knowing how far away these objects are. And, it just, for some reason, I'm just not totally settled in with the idea that we're looking at something so far into the past. And just the dynamic of light getting to us, So, I mean, do you guys, the two Davids here, do you guys ever get used to this? Do you ever, are you you're not at a burnout stage, I know, but how do you
Well,
feel about
I'm
that?
I'm used to it. I've been here for many, many years now. And we'll see about David. The other
Yeah.
David who has been here, who is now calling Tucson his home as well. But the temperature yesterday went up to 40, 42, 43 degrees. And I'm
Celsius.
saying that in Celsius,
That's hot.
being from originally from Canada. And that's about reaching about 110 Fahrenheit. How about you, David?
Yeah, I think it's about 105 Fahrenheit now. And just the last week or so, it's gotten to be really warm. But you get a lot of things done, in the middle of the day indoors. Now, I used to live in Antarctica. No, sorry, I meant Wisconsin. Close, the same thing. And, there, I mean, when it was cold much of the year, it's cold all day. Here,
Yeah.
when it's hot, it's too hot to be out there running around. Now, 3 times in the last 2 weeks, I've had bobcats in my yard here, which is walled, but so I have to be a little, looking around before I go out now. But, in the evening, and in the morning, it's really nice. I think it was 71 degrees when I woke up this morning. So you can be out and doing stuff in the morning, running around and, watering trees and stuff like that. And, and it's really comfortable. Only during the sort of late morning to dinner time is it just extremely hot. So it's okay though, because the sky, it's such a, for someone who was in Wisconsin for so long, no offense, Wisconsin, I'm a big, Packer fan, but, not good for astronomical observing, shall we say there, it's really refreshing, to step outside and have a really dark sky right
Dark
up.
sky, clear. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
It only took 43 years for me to get there, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I try to go out there and visit you guys as much as possible. Not only because you're my friends, but I just love seeing that clear sky and seeing all those stars. So
There is a party for you anytime you're out here, Scott.
all right. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, great. Well, Mr. Eicher, you are up next. David, thanks for kicking us off here. And we're going to give Mr. Eicher the stage.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to start a slideshow if I can. Oh, I need to do it there first, don't I?
Sure.
Share screen, and I will share the right screen and see if I can start a slideshow.
Mike Wiesner says Saturday night at Oracle State Park, it was 80 degrees at night. Yeah.
Wow.
For their star party. That's pretty comfortable, I would think.
Oh, yeah. Now, can you see a big refractor?
Oh, yeah.
Can you see the words Lowell Observatory and TRIP?
Yes.
Do you see the A also? No, just kidding. Sorry. I'm sleep deprived. Okay, but I
see it all.
The jokes don't really get any better than that.
No.
Okay, so just go with it. But so last week I was up in Flagstaff, which is about a 4-hour drive north of Tucson, a couple hours to get to Phoenix, and then a couple hours north of there. And it's really interesting because Arizona is so varied. You gain a lot of elevation, of course, going up to northern Arizona, most of the way toward the Grand Canyon, where there'll be a big star party next week at the Grand Canyon. But last week we had the annual meeting at Lowell Observatory, and I wanted to share just a little bit about what happened there. It's always fun to go to Lowell, and the people there are really gracious and very kind for wayward astronomers who are lost in the countryside like me. So they let me stay in Clyde Tombaugh's apartment again, which it was the place that he lived in when he discovered Pluto in 1930. So there's a lot of the sense of feeling Clyde there in and around the institution. And of course, David wrote Clyde's biography, and I knew Clyde because of hanging out with David. And so, you know, all these Clyde memories rush back to you when you go and visit Lowell there. And remember, David, all those, you know, crow jokes that we'd be sitting there and Clyde would say, you know, what were early man called, Cro-Magnon, Clyde, he'd say, God,
Terrible. Certainly gives us something to crow about.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And I think there's a whole sheet of those Clyde crow jokes somewhere. But so it was really amazing to feel the spirit of Clyde there. And we had several days of talking about the state of the observatory. Now, Lowell Observatory is in a very unusual and unique position because not only does it have a tremendous amount of history there, but a big staff of astronomers and planetary scientists, and really doing probably more so than most observatories in the world, a kind of a full spectrum of research from the solar system all the way out to cosmology. And so it's a very well-rounded institution. There's a large telescope, which I'll talk about there, that's called the Lowell Discovery Telescope. That's a 4.3 meter telescope that is out away from Central Flagstaff, where Uncle Percy, as they call him, founded the observatory in 1894, of course, overlooking what's now the city of Flagstaff on Mars Hill. That's where the classic 24-inch refractor, the Clark refractor that I'm showing here in this opening slide, is on Mars Hill. Of course, here we were looking at the moon of all things, which was nice and bright in a 24-inch refractor. But a number of, I'm trying to remember how many miles it is exactly. It's about an hour journey away from Flagstaff is a place called Happy Jack, Arizona, and that's where the big telescope is, the 4.3 meter telescope. And so there's a lot of current research going on, as well as all of the history at Lowell. And of course, probably people who are viewing this are pretty familiar with Percival Lowell's own observations of Mars with this 24-inch Clark and his interest in Mars and other planets. We've seen Brian Skiff and I and David, I think you were with us there 2 years ago. We pulled out and saw the first book about Mars that Percival Lowell's mother gave him when he was a child. We saw in the archives the book that probably spurned his interest in Mars, which is pretty cool to see. But also, of course, the Pluto camera or Pluto telescope, or a Lawrence Lowell telescope, the 13-inch photographic instrument that for a long while was out at Anderson Mesa, is now back in its original home on Mars Hill. And that is, of course, is the instrument that our old pal Clyde used to discover Pluto in 1930. Also, a famous spectrograph that was put onto the Clark refractor here, that Vesto Melvin Slifer, one of the early astronomers, and he became director at Lowell, eventually used to discover a couple of incredibly important facts about the universe, among other things that he did. One of them was in 1912 that the so-called spiral nebulae were all moving mostly away from each other. Well, that was a precursor to understanding the nature of galaxies that came a little bit before Hubble's breakthrough discovery of the cosmic distance scale and the nature of galaxies as well. And Slifer also discovered with that same instrument, the spectrograph, what we now call the interstellar medium as well. So a lot of really important history at Lowell and a lot of current cutting edge science as well, which is really interesting to remember and to talk about. But what has happened at Lowell in the last few years, you may be aware of this as well, is that there's been a huge money raising campaign, and they've expanded and produced an incredible museum and astronomy center at Lowell. Now it's called the Astronomy Discovery Center. This was a $55 million effort to really expand Lowell. The visitorship is way, way up this year because of this expansion. But of course, Lowell, and they're not unique in this way at all, but Lowell now has suddenly been hit in our current climate politically with very harsh science cutback and the elimination of a lot of grants. So having just gotten this incredible expansion done and renewal with all the things that are there, a new planetarium, a new theater, this incredible huge discovery center, all of the history and the Lowell Discovery Telescope, there are now suddenly challenges financially because the rug has been pulled out from under, as you may have heard, so many scientists, not just at Lowell, but in a lot of places. So I like to call Lowell America's Observatory because it has this well-rounded sort of group of current researchers, as well as all of the history at Lowell and the incredible diversity of the research that's going on there in all aspects, the solar system, the Milky Way galaxy, and distant space as well. And I mentioned the discoveries and the major telescopes there. If you go up on top of the Astronomy Discovery Center, there's an open seating with heated seats, by the way, open air planetarium that features planetarium shows under the real sky, which is a really unique thing. It's pretty cool. We saw a show there last week. There's also an open deck observatory that has more than a dozen fairly large telescopes, including a 32-inch scope, the largest one on the hill, that visitors can use. So it's really an incredible facility. Visitation is up something like 60%, I think it is, compared to year over year. So the reestablishment of Lowell has been a huge hit. But of course, politics, as we know, has turned very much against science suddenly here. So there are big challenges that Lowell has. So if you care about such institutions, or you have the will or the impulse to do so, you can call Lowell or you can email them and find out about how you might be able to help them out, because it is suddenly and frankly shockingly something that no one could really anticipate, a time of big need after they have already done so much enormously huge fundraising over the past decade or so to redo the institution. So there you go, or the way you can contact and help should you be so inclined. And I wanted to talk just a little bit, oops, and gosh darn it, I had such a busy day, I didn't redo the labels here on these. This is not Keenan's system. This is the Pluto camera dome, okay? It's not even anywhere close to as large as one galaxy, let alone.
Maybe there's some interaction between the galaxy and this dome, you
got it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you've explained it, Scott. Yes. So forgive me on that. These labels.
The interdependent nature of the universe.
Right. Yeah. Interstellarum Ronstolian, Philip Kenan, or 2015. It has nothing to do with anything. But this is the Pluto telescope dome, and you can see the 13-inch A. Lawrence Lowell photographic telescope, or camera, as it's been called historically, which Clyde used these glass plates, which you can also see in the museum now. The Pluto A plate has come back from the Smithsonian, so both plates are at Lowell on display now, that Clyde used with this blink comparator to discover Pluto. This is not Keenan's system again. Our friend Adam Block has nothing to do with this. Bless you, Adam. But this is Percival Lowell's tomb, which is adjacent to the 24-inch Clark refractor on the hill there. And you can see it, of course, anytime you visit Lowell. Percy is still with us there on the hill. He was a Boston Brahmin, of course, and came with that large, history of the family, of the Lowell family, and immense amounts of money with which he founded the observatory many, many years ago. This is still not Canaan system. We're really putting Phil Canaan through the grinder here. This is a moonlight shot that I took now of the Lowell Discovery Telescope dome in moonlight at night when we went, and we had a rare opportunity here, which I'll talk a little bit about here before I finish, to go and use a 4.3 meter telescope visually with a visual back on the back side, the underside of this instrument that is about 4 stories tall, and is a state-of-the-art 4.3 meter research instrument. Well, using it for deep sky observing with a 2-inch eyepiece was a lot of fun, which I'm going to talk about here. This is still not Canaan system, sorry, Phil. But the astronomers who are here in the center here helped us out with the observing this night. And we had a great time with them, and they opened the dome for us for about 3 hours or so before actual research started. So it was really, really a nice thing that is very rare to be able to do in this circumstance. Here we are. It was almost completely pitch black here. This is a long exposure braced to take the business end of the telescope. And I'd like to impress you all by saying to you very much openly that a 2-inch visual back was on the end of this 4.3 meter telescope. And you know what the Lowell astronomers put into that visual back? A 30 millimeter 2-inch Explore Scientific eyepiece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. These guys know what they're doing, huh? Yeah.
It's hard to figure out what part of the telescope is more important, the eyepiece or it is 4 meter telescope.
So they're using a multi-million-dollar 4-story state-of-the-art 4.3 meter telescope in a dark sky.
That's awesome.
With a 2-inch 30 millimeter
Yeah,
Explore Scientific eyepiece, baby. Yeah. Okay.
that's right. They're getting with it now.
Yeah.
I
so
did not know that they could actually put an eyepiece on this telescope. Did they have a big focuser? Or?
It's incredible. Now, normally there's a rotation and a prism, and there are as many as 4 instruments typically on the back end of this telescope. All of those instruments were either inactive or off of the back end here. And it's weird with a telescope that is, much larger than the height of my house I'm in here, to go to the back end and to see a 2-inch focuser and, a rack and pinion knob. It was really surreal, but they gave us time, and we had about a dozen people in the dome here with us. So we got to see 3 objects. It started out to be a largely cloudy night. Then fortunately, as we drove to Happy Jack, the clouds essentially dispersed. There was also a bright moon out. So it wasn't, by deep sky standards, a perfect night, by any means. But to look through this large telescope with an Explorer Scientific eyepiece, we first went and looked at what was pretty clear right off the bat, which was a globular cluster M3. This is in Canis Venatici. And, the weird thing with a 30 millimeter eyepiece on a telescope of this focal length, you've got about a 3 arc-minute field. So you can look at small clusters, small galaxies, or planetary nebulae, and that's about it, because of the field of view. So first we looked at M3, and we saw it, of course, just the core of the globular. It's very much larger than that, of course, but it was cleanly resolved, and you could see the colors of stars. The yellowish, deep yellowish color of the giants in the cluster was immediately apparent, which was pretty cool. Then our pals who were running the telescope, who were real astronomers at Lowell, Steve Levine and Gerard Van Bell, they gave me a quiz then. Okay, Dave, what are we looking at next? And this was pretty close to the zenith, which was we had to crawl under and, crimp a bit to get a good view into that Explore Scientific eyepiece. So we were looking up pretty high, but I couldn't tell exactly where. Of course, Ursa Major was up pretty close to the zenith then, but I didn't know what we were looking at because we saw a very bright central hub of a galaxy and some pitch black areas that were curling with the inner parts of arms of the galaxy that started very clearly defined. But it could have been there are a lot of galaxies in and around Ursa Major. Well, it was the central core, the Whirlpool galaxy, and NGC 5195 was a long way outside of the field. So were the most of the arms of M51 itself, 5194. So you couldn't really tell easily what it was, but it was the central core of the Whirlpool galaxy that was very bright and very cool. And then we finished with a planetary nebula, just to look at something that was maybe the most interesting thing because the sort of spiral structure of it and the very deep blue color, it was almost like a deep robin's egg blue immediately in this aperture. That was NGC 6543, the Cat's Eye Nebula. So those were the things that we looked at, and we made them promise that we could come back and have more nights on a 4-meter telescope visually, because it's kind of like being in a Twilight Zone episode, observing with this thing visually.
Well,
But
let me know next time you do that, and I'll bring a collection of Explore Scientific eyepieces to try out.
They were proud to have that eyepiece there, and we made a big deal of it. And I've been holding this for 2 weeks to tell you, Scott.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah. So I'm sure that we can get back there, and we'll take
Yeah.
you next time.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll trade them an eyepiece that's engraved with a Lowell Observatory logo or something like that. I can do that too.
Absolutely. Yeah. But they were very impressed, and it's a beautiful image. It was, with a bright moon out, and the scene was, not perfect, but it was still a really nice flat field and a beautiful image. You're throwing a whole lot of mirror, at that too, with that. So it was quite an experience to do that and to use it. It was,
That's cool.
I think the 100 and the 60-inch at Mount Wilson, the 40-inch at Yerkes, the couple of telescopes that are large, at McDonald I've used, but this was among the largest telescopes I've ever looked through visually. And so it was quite something to see. So I'll end with that and mention that we're still publishing this astronomy magazine. Some of the contributors are right here with you tonight, including Molly, who I see has joined us. How are you doing, Molly?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, hanging in there.
Good to see you.
Right along. So
Yeah.
anyway, this is our August issue that's kind of on the block. I'm planning right now over the next couple days, the February, March, and April, that is 2026 issues. So things are rolling right along with that. And we're having a lot of fun with it with the new owners. And I hope, Molly, you're having fun with your column too. Good. So Scott, I'll end with that. And if you can, give Lowell a little attention, a little love. And we will hope that we don't pull the plug on all science and astronomy funding all the way across the board, because this is a bad time for astronomers,
right?
For funding and for grants and for other things that they were counting on. It is, when there's more astronomical research going on than ever before, the rug may be pulled out from under maybe about a third of it, in a flash. So
it's so tragic that this stuff is happening, especially in this golden age of astronomy. We have the best minds, the best gear out there. I'll exclude the Explore Scientific eyepiece on the Discovery Telescope, but it is it's something that we have the creativity, we have the brains and the instrumentation and the freedom to communicate the findings, and so I'm very hopeful that this is just something that is a political temporary way station or something, and something that we can get past and get things back online, because it does take support from grants and our government and all the rest of it. I was always proud to know that some of my tax dollars was going towards science, and now to see that greatly diminish is really tough. So
Yeah, it's a sad moment. And of course, the total quantum of scientific funding is a drop in the bucket compared to other
that's
things
very true.
the government is
Very
spending
true.
money on.
You
And
look at military spending versus science spending, it's like 2 or 3% or something. Is
Yeah.
that number correct, David?
so
Maybe
it's
better.
it's less than that, actually. Yeah. So
Oh, wow.
it's really a pointed, cruel effort, really, we're seeing here. And let's hope that, it comes back and that we don't simply hand away the leadership in not
Yeah.
only astronomy, but all sorts of scientific fields in this exodus now of scientists who are leaving the United States of America, which is already happening.
Good Lord. Yeah. Okay. So if people are watching and they want to donate money of any amount, how do they do it for Lowell?
With regard to Lowell specifically and the
Yeah.
crisis that they're facing, they can either email for an query, even donate at lowell.edu, or they can call Lowell Observatory at 928-268-2924. Either the email or that telephone number will reach Lowell, and they will appreciate what is not a vast amount of money that they need to set things right. They don't want to have to let astronomers go and so on,
Right.
And so it's a relatively modest amount of money, not to us as individuals, but compared to what they've just invested in redoing this entire institution,
Yeah.
over the past
Oh,
few
yeah.
years. Yeah.
Yep, that's right. And if you haven't been there and you haven't seen this new facility that Lowell has, you got to go, because it will utterly blow you away. David Levy, I know, has been there recently. What did you think of it?
I was so impressed, actually. David and I went to that lovely
The grand opening of the Astronomy Discovery
grand
Center.
opening
Yeah.
of Discovery Center, and to the
Yeah.
I Love Pluto event, which has really become a big thing in February. And we had a lot of fun there. I got very drunk on their special Pluto beer.
You only had one, David.
He
I only
had
had one
less
sip.
than one,
But then
and
since
I had to
then,
watch him the whole rest of the night. Really? Okay.
since then I've been experimenting with the Pluto beer, and
Yeah.
I've not had anywhere near that problem. I did
Oh, okay.
I did
They must have
this.
spiked your beer, David. That's
Good,
what I
good,
think they
good.
did.
I did this for my telescopes, but other than that, no problems with the beer. But this telescope, this observatory is really something.
Oh, yeah.
I think the best thing that happened to me during the entire opening of the Discovery Center was that I attended a tour of the center being given by one of the tour guides, and then I realized that was the trustee of the observatory. The
Mhm.
observatory itself is run by one person, a member of Lowell's family, and he is the trustee. And I
Lowell
couldn't
Putnam,
believe
who
it.
is Percival Lowell's great grandnephew.
Yeah, and he actually led the tour, and when it was over, I talked to the group and I said, "You people today might be the luckiest people on the planet Earth. I have never been on a tour of this observatory being given by the trustee, and all of you just have one."
That's cool.
And I thought that was the highlight. But then, being a part of the I Love Pluto event, was really so special and so spectacular. And there will be a small plaque there
Mhm.
on the roof of the observatory that is dedicated to my late wife Wendy, who died in 2022 from breast cancer. And so I wanted to do that, and at some point that will be inaugurated, but I don't know when. But anyway, it was I think David's presentation about Lowell was absolutely phenomenal. It was great. And the Explore Scientific Eyepiece, I mean, it'll do. Okay, thank you.
And what made the I Heart Pluto Festival so much fun, the big event that we had in which you and others spoke, Alan Stern was there.
Yeah.
And Adam Nimoy was there as well. And so we had, some Star Trek and some Pluto and some straight on astronomy and some Clyde Tombaugh. And, you graciously had me moderate it. And we held that event in the Orpheum Theater in Flagstaff, which famously is where Clyde, on the day he discovered Pluto in 1930, he went down and saw Gary Cooper in the movie The Virginian in that theater. And we held that event right where that happened as well, which was kind of nice.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, at this point, we have a special guest coming on, Molly Wakeling. Molly had me on her astro imaging on the Astro Imaging channel. It was very nice. And so Molly, it's great to have you back on again. And you just recently got your PhD in astronomy
and nuclear engineering.
Oh, nuclear engineering. Oh,
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Related.
Related, yeah. Are these science cuts going to affect you?
Not directly, no. But I hope we don't trend. If I hope this trend doesn't continue toward disinterest in that. But yeah, fortunately, no.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Well, Molly, I will give you the stage here. We have a nice group of people watching. And and again, thanks for having me on the Astro Imaging channel. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun. We were glad to have you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't have you before, but I was thinking like, what kind of astrophotography topics does Scott talk about?
Does Scott talk about? Exactly. I talk
I
about
should have just
people that
asked.
do astrophotography. That's what I do. But
Yeah.
I do get to see a lot of great work, including works that you do, Molly. So, yep.
Yeah, glad to be back on, and good to see you, David and David, and everybody else. So glad to be back on the show. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. This one. All right, so I have now returned with the Astronomolly's Universe segment, and I figured this would be an excellent time to talk about T Corona Borealis, everybody's current favorite star, because we're hoping that it's going to nova sometime soon. It was originally predicted to nova sometime last year. That didn't happen, and but we're still waiting on it. It is about time for it to do so. I'll talk a little bit more about what that's about. And show some pictures. All right, so what is T Corona Borealis, or TCRB is the short way to put it. It's also known as the Blaze Star for its periodic bright outbursts. It's actually a binary star system, like these stars that have these outbursts tend to be. It's a recurring nova, so this is different from a supernova. This is not a massive star that explodes and ends its life. A nova is a recurring event. The star doesn't die in this event, and but it gets really bright for a while, and then will go back to its normal, what we call the quiescent state. And this particular one flares about every 80 years. Now, that every 80 years is only based on two other observations. So, but these things do tend to occur with with a lot of regularity. We should feel pretty good about the 80 years, but it is still kind of a rough estimate based on only two robust observations. This is a plot here of the star's brightness in the 1946 outburst. And you can see that there was a pre-eruption dip, how many months? 6, 7, 8 months before the actual nova occurred. And then it went from magnitude 10-ish, which is too dim to see with the naked eye, up to a very bright magnitude 3, which you could definitely see with the naked eye from pretty much anywhere. And was bright enough to see and stayed that way for a little while, not very long, a week or so, before it dimmed back down, had a bit of a pickup, and then back down again. So we expect kind of similar behavior. We thought we might have observed the pre-eruption dip. I think it was a couple of months ago the AAVSO announced it. It wasn't across all wave bands though. It was only in like the hydrogen alpha, the hydrogen lines and things like that they observed this dip. So we'll see how that plays out. So where can you find it? So the Corona Borealis constellation, once you spot it for the first time, it's easier to spot in the future because it's sort of in the shape of a crown, which is what Corona means, the northern crown. There is a bright star, Alphecca, that if you're poking around the sky looking for a star to calibrate, to align your telescope to, you've probably used before. You can see it's not too far from Hercules, and that orange or that yellow dot along Hercules, that's M13, that glorious globular cluster. So it's in that vicinity, and you can see I've got it circled here in red, where it's kind of around the side, kind of the corner of the crown on the opposite side from Alphecca. And you can go try and spot it with binoculars, but again, you won't be able to see it naked eye right now. It's too dim. So yeah, it's quiescent magnitude, hovers around 10. It's naturally a variable star to begin with, but it will become a much smaller magnitude than it's about to jump up. So magnitude 10, it's about 3,000 light years away in Corona Borealis constellation, of course. It will reach a peak magnitude. It should reach a peak magnitude between about 2 and 3, which is a little bit dimmer than Polaris, the North Star. And it's actually, I mentioned it's a binary star system. It's a red giant and a white dwarf system. So let me talk a little bit about what that is. So it's had two well-documented outbursts, one in 1866 and one in 1946. There were two previous ones, one in like 1200 something and one in 16 something, that were possible observations of it in the historical record. But these two in the modern era were much more well-documented. Especially in the 40s when a lot of people were kind of starting to do variable star photometry visually on small consumer telescopes. Well, maybe not consumer yet, but somewhere around there. So the cool red giant, and you might think that like the red giant is hot and the white dwarf is cool, but just because the star is bigger doesn't mean that it has a hotter surface temperature. In this case, red is a cooler color of light, sort of like how a red flame is cooler than a blue or a white flame. So the red giant is the cooler star, and the white dwarf is sucking material off of it more or less in an accretion disk around the white dwarf. And they orbit each other about once every 228 days. The red giant dominates the visible light output during the quiescent phase, so we're mostly seeing the light from the red giant because it is bigger and brighter. It's just not hotter than the white dwarf. And the white dwarf is mostly glowing in the ultraviolet, which is also why it doesn't contribute as much to the visible light output during the quiescent phase. But during outbursts, the material transfer from the red giant to the white dwarf increases dramatically. The white dwarf expands and its luminosity increases, and its luminosity in the optical spectrum increases. So that's why the overall system gets much brighter during the nova. So this plot's pulled directly from the American Association of Variable Star Observers website. You can actually go plot any variable star for a period of time across a bunch of different wave bands. So I just yanked this off the website. This is just observations. This is not cleaned up or Ingoodined data, as it were. So this is kind of the community's observations. I've got quite a few in that chart as well. In February 2015, it brightened a little bit from 10.2 to 9.2, which is significant. And that lasted until about June 2018. And it was a similar brightening like this in 1938 before the 1946 outburst, which is also what supported the thought that it might happen in the 2024 timeframe. In mid 2023, it dimmed by 0.35 magnitudes, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's actually 28% of its brightness, which is the lowest that it's been since 2016. And a similar dimming occurred before the 1946 outburst, and I got cut off. Whoopsies. We're still waiting for this upcoming outburst, but it is likely coming soon. And you can see just kind of its natural variability here and how it's kind of trended downward over the last, this chart begins in June 2022 and goes till like when I made this on Saturday. And it's on the infrared, red visible, which is green, and blue wave bands here. You can see kind of its natural variability there. These are my observations, but it's fun to kind of see how your work contributes to the scientific community. And I don't know if every week I get a summary email from the AAVSO showing how my observations have been used. And it'll just say like the number of observations of that star and whether it was professional, amateur, or like student or educator. And so occasionally I get some professional polls, a lot of amateur and student ones for making charts with, sometimes for doing analysis with. So it's fun to think that my data is hopefully contributing to the study of T. corona borealis. The gap there is because it does go below the horizon for a little bit. It is pretty circumpolar, but it dips below for a little bit during the winter time, and then I can catch it coming back up in the east starting in about January. I'm also relatively far south down here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So if you want to observe T. corona borealis, it's up for most of the year for northern observers. Like I mentioned, it's almost circumpolar. It's like I mentioned, it's too dim to see naked eye right now. You need binoculars or a telescope to see it. I haven't tried finding it in binoculars. You probably could. But I saw online that it is spottable in binoculars apparently. Or really any size telescope, you should be able to spot it. When it does brighten, it could brighten in as quickly as 24 hours. So keep your eye on the news. And it will probably be all over the place. And it will remain naked eye visible for a few days to a week, but it's only going to be that very bright for really like that day or two. So hopefully you have some good weather to get to go observe it, and then you can kind of catch it on the down swing after that. And it will be about as bright as Polaris, about as bright as the North Star. Photographically, it is very easy to capture. Magnitude 10 is no problem for photographers, and it's up nice and high right now. It will be challenging through a telescope photographically when it erupts because it will be very bright. Like you have to take pretty short exposures to be able to do a photometry measurement on it because you need it to not saturate the camera sensor. And when you take short exposures, then you don't have enough exposure on a nearby field star to use as the comparison star to determine what the magnitude is. There are some strategies for going to a nearby star field. We have to do some extra work to make sure the calibration is correct and things like that. And I haven't tried that before. So hopefully my camera will be able to pick up enough background stars to be able to get a magnitude measurement when it's at its brightest. But I've tried getting measurements of Betelgeuse and have failed for the same reason. So probably will also struggle here, although Betelgeuse is brighter than this will be. This is one of my pictures of it from my photometry rig. I have one of my telescope rigs in my backyard is dedicated to variable star photometry. So I have a CCD camera from QSI, and I have photometric filters from Johnson Cousins Spectrum. So I have infrared, red, visible, and blue. And this image is just the red, visible, blue. I didn't mix in the infrared here, but and I have that on an 8-inch f5 Newtonian. So kind of a nice balance between aperture and a short enough focal length to have lots of comparison stars, but a long enough focal length to not have a super wide field with a bunch of stuff in it. So it's been a great photometry telescope setup. You can see the image is a little bit messy here. My flats, I have some new dust spots that my flats didn't quite correct. I need to take some new flats and some banding because it's a CCD camera. But I submit these kind of measurements whenever I can, and there is T Corona Borealis in the background of other stars. The one that I couldn't get PixInsight to label up here in this corner is called MS SIR, SIR for Serpens. Just a designation for some of the less bright stars that don't get to have a Greek letter, that designation. And that's what I got.
Wow. Great. So, I know we've had some warnings out there that, that it could be this week or another day. I mean, these people are making predictions. It seems like that is, I think foolhardy to kind of try to predict an exact time when this is going to
Yes.
happen.
Yeah, especially with the fact that we only have 2 prior quality observations of it. And like there is some indication, like when it goes through some of these dimming and brightening phases, you can kind of predict based on the prior to, like, hey, this happened this many years before, and this happened this many months before. And there was a bit of a stir when AAVSO announced that there was a dip in brightness of some of the emission lines. But it turned out to be less exciting than they had originally hoped, because we did not see a similar dimming of the photometric kind of the overall optical light output didn't change as much as the lines did. It still indicates something interesting is going on, the fact that the emission lines dipped. But yeah, so trying to say like what day, what week, oh, it's, look up in the sky this week. Yeah, kind of
I
foolhardy.
say look up at the sky every time it's clear. So it's probably the best way to go.
Yeah, but
David,
it should happen soon, hopefully in the next year or 2.
Next year. Okay.
And there are reports that the star actually was seen in outburst in the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
So there has been at least one other outburst. So
Yeah. I think I saw that there was potentially 2 outbursts in the historical record that they think they can attribute to T Corona Borealis.
and it's quite possible that we can, but the thing with all these predictions is that T Corona Borealis is going to erupt when it erupts, and it'll decide
When it wants to.
And
Yeah.
not when we decide it.
When it dang well pleases.
And that's the official prediction from.
Yes, that's your.
Is that the
PhD
position of
prediction.
Astronomy
When it
Magazine,
dang well
David?
pleases.
It's
The same.
going to be 3 weeks from this coming Sunday at 9:17 a.m. Arizona. time.
I see.
Okay.
All right, what's
And
the
then
over under?
A couple weeks
I'll put
later,
$10 on that.
Betelgeuse is going to go supernova too. Okay.
Yeah,
Don't hold your
sometime
breath for
sometime
that
between
either.
tomorrow night and 10,000 years, Betelgeuse will super.
Exactly. Yes. Yep.
Well, we hope many people in our audience are trying to observe it. David, I remember, Levy, you were observing it with binoculars. You went out and did some observations. So it's definitely a binocular object.
Okay.
And it's going to happen much sooner than Betelgeuse going supernova. At least we can say that. Yeah.
Yes, we
There
can
we
at least
go.
say that.
There we go. Well, that's great. Okay, so folks, our next speaker is Don Nab from the Astronomical League. They are also a co-host of the Global Star Party. Thank you, Molly. And let's bring on Mr. Nab.
Hi,
Don,
Scott.
thanks. You've been patient here. Thank you very much.
That's okay. I'm
Yeah.
happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So
Yeah, and
great
well,
screensaver you got going on there. So
Oh, yeah. That's
Mhm.
we got a couple computers in this room, so
Okay.
lots
All
of stuff to do for the Astronomical League, which of course starting to get packed soon here to go Monday. My wife and I are flying out to Bryce Canyon. We're looking forward to that.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, are you flying into Salt Lake or?
We're flying into St. George's.
Okay. Okay.
It just worked out better for the flight times to get out there and to get back
Mhm.
to St. George's. So about a 2-hour drive or so, but it should be a very scenic drive. Looking forward to that. Going out there with the president of our local club, astronomy club, is going. He and his wife, so it'll be 4 of us going up. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Never been there, so.
One other comment about T. Corbor, Barbara Harris says, "Don't miss it like Leslie Peltier did." Oh, I did not. I didn't realize that he had actually missed seeing that. So that must have been something he really lamented for the rest of his life. Anyhow,
Right, I will share my
there you
screen
go.
now,
There you
if it's
go.
okay. And I will start my slideshow. Let me hide this thing. Hide video.
John Ray saying I should have an explosion pool giveaway for Explore Scientific. Maybe.
Okay, is this coming through okay?
Yep.
All right, so I'm just going to talk a little bit, just a short presentation about the late June, early July night sky. But before I do that, I want to mention the next AL Live, Astronomical League Live, is on July 11th, 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. We're going to have Vincent Levina, I suppose it's pronounced, talking about seeing the aurora, crossing it off your bucket list. So be sure to join. It's always a fun show. And that will be, again, July 11th. So I have to roll back from Bryce Canyon. So every month I like to show these because John Goss of the Astronomical League, the media officer, past president, puts a lot of work into these. I share these at my local club, at all the Mideast region astronomy clubs in the region, in the Mideast region of the league. And they're always a collection. On the left here, we see this will be coming up at the end of June, 24th to 27th, where we can look in the evening and see Mercury with the crescent moon. Be a nice sight. On the right is the Seahorse asterism in Hydra. It gives good directions on how to find that and gives you a clue how to view it with binoculars over here in the lower right. And the main sheet that I hand this out to everyone I can. I share it with my club, local club, and all the clubs in the Mideast region. And I give this to anyone who's new in astronomy, because this is a great way to learn the night sky. I tell everyone the best thing you can do, don't go out and buy a telescope that'll find it for you. Learn how to find it yourself. And if you go through these steps, I'm not going to do that now, but you go through these steps, John leads you on a tour of the night sky and gives you easy ways to find things with numbers and designations. So it's a really great thing that he does for the league and for the amateur astronomy hobby. So June lunar highlights. New moon is on the 25th. It's a perfect time to be out at Astracon, Bryce Canyon, in extremely dark skies. And the weather forecast right now is looking very good. Although it's going to be getting down into the upper 30s at night, but it should be a great time to see the sky. Then we'll go to early July lunar highlights. So on July 2nd, Lunar X and Lunar V. If you've never seen these, here's a great opportunity. And you can do this. You probably see them with binoculars if you have good eyes. I probably can't, but I will set up a telescope right around 7 o'clock. It'll still be light out, but you'll be able to see these. There'll be enough contrast, I think. So the Lunar X is down here. It's a clair obscure effect in which light and shadow create the appearance of an X. It's hard to see on this photo, but I've blown it up over here in the lower right. That is the Lunar X by a combination of these craters. It just catches the very top of those craters, so you can get an X. And it's only a few hours, so you have to be the right spot where the Earth is facing the moon, and it has to be the right time because you only got a couple hours to see it. So it's not every month. It's only 2 or 3 times a year. And not far from the Lunar X, about a third of the way up the moon, is the Lunar V. I've blown that up over here on the right. And it's a twofer. You can see 2 things at once. So it's really fun. It's a great thing to share with people who had never seen it before. It's really a joy. And then on the 3rd, we have Rupes Recta, the lunar straight wall, another wonderful thing to show people at star parties. Full moon's on the 10th. This is called the Birds Shedding Feathers moon, or the buck moon. I use the Birds Shedding Feathers moon. This is from the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada. calendar they've always put out every year, a great observing calendar. But the buck moon is a more traditional name for it, probably. In fact, just the other day in our backyard, I saw a buck with his horns coming out and all covered in soft fur. So this is the buck moon, or the bird shedding feathers moon. So the planets were, are the riches of the spring. We had a lot of planets in the evening sky. We're past that, but still good things to see. Mercury, this is a great thing. If you want to go see fireworks, don't go see fireworks. Just look through your telescope. July 4th, this is the best viewing of the year to see Mercury. Of course, it'd be low in the west, but it'd be a great time to see it. If you're not seeing Mercury, put it on your list, July 4th. Venus, you have to get up before dawn to see Venus. It's very bright and very low in the eastern sky. Of course, we're racing around the sun with Mars is falling behind us. So we can still see it for now. It's getting pretty small, but it's still red. And you can definitely pick it out in binoculars or a telescope. But it's going to be dropping lower in the sky. And on tonight, June 17th, it's very close to Regulus in the constellation Leo. Now, we won't see that here in Pennsylvania. It's solid clouds. But if you're somewhere where it's clear, take a look, binoculars or telescope, to see Mars next to Regulus in Leo. Jupiter's gone. It's behind the sun. It's going to reappear in the July morning sky. Saturn is rising around 1 by the end of the month. So, and it began the month near Venus, but is rapidly pulling away and rising higher as the months progress. So we'll take a look at a few deep sky objects. I like this time of the year, especially for me living up here in Pennsylvania, where we don't see a lot of the southern sky other than June, July, August, December, September. These are the riches of the southern sky. But we're going to focus tonight just on a couple things in Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer. So these in the south, above Sagittarius and Scorpius. We'll zoom in a bit. These are the objects we're going to take a quick look at. In Ophiuchus, right in the middle, we have Messier 10 and Messier 12. These are globular clusters. And these are easily visible with binoculars, but they look even better in a telescope. And we'll look at IC 4665. This is a very large, sparse open cluster at the shoulder. And then these two over here, the Tweedledee and the Tweedledum clusters. We'll look at those. They're off the left shoulder. Sorry?
No, I didn't know that there was Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I think.
Yep. Tweedledee and Tweedledum clusters. Yep. So if you have a small telescope, this is about what Messier 10 and Messier 12 will look like. Typically with my C star. You can pick them up with binoculars, but you can get a lot more definition with a small telescope. And this is the kind of the view you might see in the eyepiece of maybe a 3 or 4 inch refractor you might see, or a 5 or 6 inch Dob or Newtonian. And then IC 4665, one of the brightest clusters, but it's not in Messier's catalog. And everyone guesses it's probably because it's so loose and coarse that there was no way it would ever be mistaken for a comet by anyone back then. So, but this is a nice cluster. It's a binocular cluster. It's so huge, you'd be hard pressed to find an eyepiece in a telescope with a wide enough field of view to see the whole thing. It's visible in a dark sky, the naked eye. And then this is the Tweedledee and Tweedledum clusters, also called the Serpens Ophiuchus double cluster, as opposed to the double cluster which is near Cassiopeia. So yeah, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, a great view in binoculars. They're both open clusters, and they got these names by Stephen James O'Meara, the astronomy author. NGC 6633, also called the Captain Hook cluster, and or the Wasp Voice cluster. IC 4756 has some other names also. Graph's cluster or the Secret Garden cluster. I don't know where that one came from, but I like Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. And then one of my favorite clusters is Messier 11, the Wild Duck cluster. In the classic Burnham Celestial Handbook, he calls it an exceptionally fine galactic star cluster lying on the northern edge of the prominent Scutum star cloud. One of these outstanding objects of its type for telescopes of moderate aperture. A 60 millimeter or a telescope would see this fine. Larger, better yet, like 2 inch or 3 inch refractor or a Newtonian reflector would be fine. But according to Burnham's, it was Reverend William Derman of England who first resolved the cluster, and they thought they found out that it was stars, not just a cloud. But Admiral Smith, or Smythe, I'm not sure how it's pronounced exactly, but he was a famous astronomer of the day. He named M11 the Wild Duck Cluster because he wrote in his notes, this object, which somewhat resembles a flight of wild ducks in shape. So that's where it's got its name. But he named it that because of the roughly V-shaped arrangement of the brighter stars in the cluster. So here's the constellation Scutum, and here is the star cloud, and here is the wild duck cluster. Not hard to find. I often start at the Eagle constellation, Aquila, and head out from there. It's easier to find it that way to star hop. The wild duck cluster. Now here's what it might look like in a typical amateur astronomer telescope. This is from the European Space Organization. You can see it's incredibly dense. Okay, and of the 26 open clusters in Messier's catalog, M11 is the most distant that can be seen with the naked eye. Now, I'm going to look for it when out of Bryce Canyon because I can never see naked eye where I live. But it's so dense, an open cluster, it almost appears like a globular cluster. You can see this picture looks very much like M10 and M12 until you zoom in and you see that it is really an open cluster. But according to some estimates, imagine if you were on a planet on one of these stars, you would have several hundred first magnitude stars. That'd be like several hundred Vegas in the night sky. It would be overwhelming. So other places you can get night sky charts other than the Astronomical League is skymax.com. Every month a map is brought out, and on the backside are the best things to see in the month. And there's one called What's Out Tonight. And same thing on the backside. There's actually just a 2-pager, four sheets, 2 pages. And it lists all the things you can see in the sky and is a reference chart also. So easy to find. You can download them every month for free. So I would say get out there and enjoy the night sky. This is a great time to be out there observing.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, Don. What is the best way for people to join the Astronomical League? It is now, I believe, the world's largest federation of astronomy clubs.
I lose track of how many members there are, but it's 25 or 30,000.
It's over 25,000 now, I know.
25,000. So
And over, I think it's over 300 clubs.
yeah, 300 clubs. So the best way would be to join a local club is what I would say. But most clubs in the region that I know here are members of the league. But if it's not a club nearby, you can join as a member at large, and still have all the same benefits of being an astronomy club, although you just won't have the camaraderie of a local club. But you can still join the AL as a member at large.
Oh, very good. Well, thank you so much, Don. We'll see you
You're
next
quite
time.
welcome.
Take
I'll
care.
see you, I guess, next week, right?
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
All right, great. Looking forward to it.
Take
All
care. Bye-bye. Okay, our next speaker is Sabella Burlingame. And Sabella started coming on, I think at age 10, something like that. And she has been 11. Okay. All right. So she's been on Global Star Party about 4 or 5 times. You'll have to correct me on that, but is this your fifth time, Sabella?
I believe it is actually my 6th, including yeah, 6th. Yeah.
Okay. Well, very good. Very good. So you've been at Space Camp again, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, why don't you tell us all about it? I didn't get to go to Space Camp when I was a kid, so I'm not even sure they had it when I was a kid. It was back when dinosaurs were still roaming the earth. So
okay, I'm going to share my screen here. I put together a presentation.
Yeah.
All right. So introduction to Space Camp. Let me full screen this really quick. Okay, so Space Camp is all the way down in Huntsville, Alabama. They do accept international students. So I'm going to start off a little bit with the history of Space Camp. Started by this guy, Wernher von Braun. We got him during Operation Paperclip after World War II. He was alive during 1912 to 1977. And most of you know he was the chief architect for NASA. And he also set the foundation for Space Camp's founding in 1982. So that's some interesting stuff there. So I will be talking about the big two camps here, Space Camp and Aviation Challenge. I've actually done both. But there are two minor camps, cyber and robotics, if you're interested in that. So all camps are 6 days and 5 nights long. And if there are any parents watching, and if you have kids in this range, try to keep in mind like which age range they're in because there are differences. So we have Space Camp, which is ages 9 to 11, Space Academy, ages 12 to 14, and Advanced Academy, ages 15 through 18. And I've officially done all of those because I'm 15 right now. We have the differences here. So Space Camp does one mission. I'll get into a little more specifics in a little bit, but they do have access to more simulators because they're smaller, so they get to do more stuff. Space Academy, which is the second oldest range, they get to do 2 missions and advanced rockets. Rockets are one of my favorite things. And then Advanced Academy, which is what I just did a couple weeks ago, we get to do underwater scuba training, advanced rockets, and 3 missions, including the EDM, which I will also explain in a little bit. So starting off with 2021, I was 11 years old. This was my very first time, and this trip to Space Camp was actually on a scholarship, so I was very thankful to have the opportunity. Down here in this photo right here, you can see I was an ISS scientist in our mission. I think I grew plants or something like that. I don't really remember. And up here in this right corner here is the MAT, or the multi-axis trainer. And it basically simulates like a tumble in space. Not necessarily how to get out of it, but just to kind of simulate that. So here is Space Academy 2022. I was a flight engineer for one of my missions. I don't have photos of my second mission, but this was super fun. I got to be hooked up to a harness and we got to repair some heat tiles on the space shuttle. And here is my graduation photo, still in the middle of COVID. And here's some rockets that they have on the campus. They actually added a bunch more. They added Rocket Park just last year, so we have a ton more rockets now. Here's the classic Saturn V, and here's the Saturn 1. Those are both on display outside. And Space Academy 2023 was super fun. We got to do the 1/6 gravity chair, which kind of self-explanatory. It simulates the 1/6 gravity that you experience on the moon. And here's my graduation photo. And right next to me is astronaut Wendy Lawrence. She gave an excellent presentation. And right here, for the younger kids, they have a competition for the best mission patch, and that's the one that I designed. And I won that one, so that was an amazing experience. Here's the multi-axis trainer once again, and here's me watching my rocket launch. And over here on the far left is our rocket Moon Cheese, and my friends there. Here's some more from this year. 2 years ago, I was a shuttle pilot, which is ironic because that's what I got to do this year as well. That was such a fun experience. One of the best things that you can do at Space Camp is the missions. And for our second mission, I was at Capcom. So I was in charge of basically communicating between the astronauts, like on the space shuttle or up in space, and basically as a bridge between mission control and the astronauts. And here's my team. Some of you guys might be watching. I know I have some people from this year who are watching right now. But speaking of that, here is Team Isidis, which is the one that I just got back from just a couple weeks ago. So here we are in the middle of building a spacesuit, and there's a funny story behind this rocket. We wrote Boeing on it, and it crashed. So that was funny. It was a 2-stage rocket. It was a very fun experiment because the older kids are the only ones who get to do the 2-stage rockets. So it was really cool to just have that experience and learn how to design that. And here's something that's kind of unique for the older kids. We have the scuba stuff. This is my friend. I believe this is Grace right here. And there's me on the very far left, and there's Sam. She might be watching. It was such a fun experience. We had about half an hour, I think, to do scuba. And then here's some photos from our missions. So I was GNC for one, so I was like guidance and navigation and stuff, and making sure that the shuttle pay doors stay closed. That was a funny experiment. And then here on our EDM. So the EDM is a 3-hour long mission, and it's basically what Space Camp at this point is building up to. It basically tests to see like where you will do well and like your leadership skills and stuff. I was chosen to be flight commander. I'm very thankful for my team. You guys were so fun to work with. And so the EDM was actually, we simulate a Mars mission. So we're actually like looking into the future for this. And I think it's really good for kids to experience that opportunity because this is what we will be doing. This is like our generation and the generations to follow. So here's me at my graduation. I'm wearing the same flight suit right now, got it all decked out with my wings. And here's the moment when we found out that we won the Commander's Cup, which is the I think it's the most valued award at Space Camp. So throughout the week, they'll like grade your activities that you do throughout the week, and basically whichever team has the most points wins that. And my team that year was this year was so great. I love you guys. And here, kind of a break from the space stuff. I'm going to talk about Aviation Challenge really quick. So Space Camp is more like NASA-based stuff, and then Aviation Challenge, which I've done once, that was more like Air Force-based. So we have, again, age divisions, Mach 1, Mach 2, and Mach 3. So I only did Mach 2, but I know a little bit about these other ones here. So starting us off, Mach 1 does simple missions and team building games. They have simple flight simulators. They're not too hard to use. Then Mach 2, I believe Mach 1 also does water survival training, but Mach 2 for sure does water survival training, advanced flight simulators, and combat missions. You get to shoot down your friends in the flight simulators. And over here, yeah, that was very fun. I was really bad at it, but over here in Mach 3, we have advanced water survival training, advanced 2-person flight simulators. Those are super cool. I included a photo of them. And we have advanced outdoor missions. So here's some photos from last year. I was Team Great Eagle. This was a photo from my graduation. Again, here is an astronaut. I don't remember his name off the top of my tongue, but and then here is a presentation about the 3 principal axis of rotation. So it's a lot of fundamental stuff, and it's really good if your kid is interested in like going to the Air Force or Navy, or just maybe wanting to become a pilot in general. And over here we have, I believe we were building propellers. I don't remember, but here we had like outdoor activities. We got to build a shelter. This was the other team that we were competing against inside of our own team. And oh yeah, here's the 2-person flight simulators. So this is one of the best things about Aviation Challenge, which is why I suggest if you want to do it, wait till you're 15 or older, because I've heard these things are really cool. And really fun. And here, this is a classic Aviation Challenge tradition, and it's kind of famous around the campus. This is the F-14 Tomcat, and it was actually in the movie Top Gun. So that's a pretty cool fact that they have that there in Huntsville, Alabama. So now the part that everybody has kind of been waiting for, what is the price? So Space Camp is basically $1,800, Space Academy $1,900, and Advanced Academy is $2,000. But the prices are the same for Aviation Challenge. It like matches the age range or whatever. But do not worry, because we have scholarship opportunities. So I actually did this, and they changed the rules a bit, and I feel like it's a lot easier to actually win a scholarship now. So if you have a kid that wants to really go, but you necessarily can't like afford it, here's some simple steps. So you can design a mission patch. That's very fun, by the way. You write an essay thinking, should we go to the moon first, or should we go to Mars first? And maybe if there's any important things that you might want to mention with that. Describe a science project using the scientific method or engineering design process. So about 4 years ago, I came on here and I showed my science experiment that I physically had to make. Now all you have to do is describe it. So that's pretty nice. And then final step, upload a copy of a form from your school verifying enrollment and grade point average. I don't actually know what the grade has to be, but it's not like exceedingly high. So if your scholarship application is accepted, all cost is covered, except for transportation to and from the camp. That's not paid for. So it covers literally your whole experience. You get to sleep there. Amazing, like we call them habitats where we sleep. The food is absolutely amazing. They have tons of food options. So if your kid is maybe picky about food, they have like 7 or 8 choices to choose from for each meal. So if you've been to Space Camp already and you want to go again, here are some of the benefits. So returning students get discounts. Experience really gets you far. Like I mentioned, I was a space shuttle pilot in our missions twice, and I knew exactly what to do. It was so much fun. I loved working with the crew trainers as well. And you're also qualified to join the Advanced Academy Elite Camp. So this is for, I believe, my juniors and seniors in high school. Which it's basically, I believe it's a 10-day program of intense training, and you get to build things from scratch instead of using basic models for like rockets and stuff. And last, you obtain more scholarship opportunities for college. All right, do we have any questions? I know that was kind of a lot of information.
I know that people love your presentation. And Lori Ansorge, who comes on for the Astronomical League from time to time, she says, "Wow, how does Scott get such amazing guests?" You know, it's wonderful to have you on, Sabella, and it's you know, watching you grow up through your you know, your teen years or preteen years, and now you're almost approaching the age of graduating high school. Yep. And all the rest of it. We hope that you keep coming on. So I can tell your skills as a presenter have gotten very, very good. And I'm curious, I mean, with all this, these experiences, you know, all your energy and your, I mean, you know, I know you love flying. I know you love space. What do you hope to do?
So, that's kind of a difficult question because there's so many different opportunities. I really want to work for NASA. That would probably be my like my dream. But I've also thought about becoming a pilot. I actually have my Aviation Challenge flight suit right here. Mm-hmm. But I feel like space camp is, space related stuff is like more at home for me. But I feel like the difficulty that I have is actually location, because a lot of that stuff is down in the South. And I'm from Washington State. And that's kind of a long move away from everybody and my friends. But we have Boeing in our area. A lot of my family actually works for Boeing, and there's a ton of opportunities with that. And as they're getting more and more into space stuff, hopefully they'll improve. Mm-hmm. Just as they continue to grow, I hope that they'll branch out in their space related stuff more and continue to like maybe partner with NASA. That would be such a cool opportunity to work for Boeing.
Absolutely. So, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, thanks again. And we will we'll hope to see you again very, very soon. So
thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Sabella. Okay. So any comments from our presenters here? I think she did actually more than a decent job.
Oh, I think so. I needed to get away from the to give my eyes a bit of a rest. But yeah. I really did enjoy that presentation, Sabella. You really know your stuff.
Thank you.
And I hope that we'll be hearing from you in the years to come.
Yep.
For sure. Yes. Thank you.
Very good. Very good.
Super polished presentation. Very nice. I would have choked. That was
Thank
really
you.
good.
Well, I think all the people that regularly come on Global Star Party, with the exception of, of some of the really super seasoned pros that are here, like David Eicher, David Levy, and some others here too. Daniel Barth, who's up on next, as an educator, getting up and speaking in front of people and being comfortable and doing that. It takes lots of practice, and so Sabella does that with grace, and she's articulate, and she is on point, and many people are commenting on how clever and how smart Sabella is, but she is definitely focused, and it was an honor to have her. So thank you, Sabella.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Okay, our next speaker is the star of How Do You Know? Dr. Daniel Barth. Daniel has retired from University of Arkansas. He worked for a little while at Explore Scientific. He's retired from that. He is now in his dream location with his observatory that's now all operational.
Yes.
It's kind of cool to see the library behind you and all the rest of it. And you look very at ease.
Thank you,
Daniel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to go ahead and want to see if I can do this. I want to share my screen. Here we go. I want to share my screen. There we are. And I'm going to go ahead and run a short video for you. This is about 2 minutes, but I think you'll find it interesting. It's my observatory in action. And I get a lot of questions about how the rollout observatory works. So here we go. I'm going to make this, there we are. Make this nice and big.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a lot of sound here. I think there is some sound background. Yeah, you can hear me rolling out. This is an Explore Scientific 12-inch Dob. And you see there, I've got it up on a rolling caster dolly. And the casters are workbench type casters where when you flip the lever, the dolly drops down. And to make it roll smoothly, this rolls on 3 casters, but it sits on 4 leveling feet. And then it operates normally. And that puts the eyepiece height at my eye height at the zenith, or pretty close to. So it's very comfortable to use. What's next coming out here, this is the Appomax refractor. And this monster is 133 millimeter aperture, 5¼ inch. It's an F12 system. So the tube is a bit over 2.1 meters. It's a 7-foot OTA. And the system you see there with the dolly is about 300 pounds. And this skinny old guy has no trouble rolling it out. Now, I will tell you, for alignment's sake, I roll it out and then I line up the dolly using my my phone has an accurate compass app, and I use that. And I have no trouble tracking at 250 power, which is really nice. I thought about putting in some alignment pins, and I may still do that, but I don't do a lot of photography. And here then is the third instrument, the 127 XL binoculars from Oberwerk. So there's my 3 instruments rolling out. And you can see why I think this is so nice. And I'm going to go ahead and let's pause that. We don't need to see that anymore. And let's see. Did I get rid of the share? Okay, I think I did. Anyway, one of the interesting things about the rollout observatory model, I see there are groups. There are multiple groups on social media dedicated to things like, help me get my roll-off observatory roof to work properly. I can't get my motorized system for my roll-off roof to work right. My roll-off roof leaks in the weather. I have bug intrusions. I have bird intrusion into my observatory. Dome sites are full of posts like, help me get my dome motorized. I can't get my dome to roll smoothly. Things aren't balanced. My shutters aren't working quite right. And you see people with their observatory, and their number one idea they were locked into is a fixed pillar in the ground and a building around it, which then either the roof rolls off or the dome has shutters and it spins. And my rollout observatory design kind of gets rid of all of that. I have a perfectly weather-tight building. My observatory floor is 5 by 8 meters, so it's 16 by 26 feet. There's enough room for 3 large instruments, so I can have an instrument, invite a couple of friends to bring their gear down, and have room, plenty of room on the lawn if we have a big group. And you saw the 3 scopes there. One, the refractor, the pivot point in the center of the mast for the scope, is basically 7.5 feet off the ground because the tube is 7 feet long. And when that goes to zenith, you have to have the eyepiece at a workable height. Then the Dobsonian tilts at about 18 inches off the ground, and the binoculars tilt at about chest high. So the idea of a wall that's high enough for a roll-off roof that the roof would clear that folded up Dobsonian, you would have to have at least a 7.5 foot wall, which makes it very difficult to use your Dobsonian effectively. The other thing, and I'll just throw this out there, for someone who's spent a career teaching with teenagers out in the dark, where I was often the only adult, and I would always encourage parents, please come to astronomy night with your students. More adults is good. It was a rare night when I had more than 2 or 3 adults and 50 to 75 teenagers. And so a priority for me was always being able to keep everybody in sight at all times. We would often go out to a football field where everyone would set up their telescopes. And I could, from wherever I was, look around and I could see what everyone was doing. Once you put an observatory wall, whether that's a dome or a roll-off roof, then you have places immediately on the other side of that wall you can't see. And so you have blind spots, quite literally. And, you know, it's the 21st century, guys. We can't have that. We have to make sure everybody's safe and everybody's comfortable. And so this design means that I can have educational groups come out with kids and parents of any age. And because the observatory floor is open, I can see what everybody's doing at all times. I can keep an eye on what's going on. That both goes for multiple setups of equipment, as well as, you know, just making sure youngsters aren't getting into mischief out in the dark. And that's always an issue. But it's a really lovely design. The last observation that kind of a benefit that it never occurred to me, but somebody else mentioned it. Many people post saying, how do I disguise my dome or my roll-off roof observatory so it doesn't look, you know, strange and unusual, like it might have lots of fancy gear inside? My observatory, as you see, looks like a steel garden shed with a roll-up door, like you might have for a lawnmower or gardening equipment or anything else. And out in the rural area where I'm at in Western Arkansas, this design draws no attention whatsoever. And it makes it very easy on nights when, you know, there may be a window. I can literally set up and bring my eyepieces and my observing chair out in 5 minutes and put it away same. So I don't ever feel like any observing window is too small, which at my age, in my mid 60s, and that big telescope didn't get much use in the last 8 or 10 years, simply because 275 pounds of equipment is a lot to go out and slug around, even if it's from your own garage, you know, 100 yards out to your backyard. You know, it was a crazy amount of work. It was an hour's work for 2 men. One man when I was in my 30s, but definitely two guys for old guy me. It takes two of me to set up that scope. But now I can just roll it out, and it's so easy and so much fun. And I'm hoping this design, this observatory design, kind of takes off, because I think it would allow a lot of flexibility for people, and you wouldn't necessarily have to make it as big as I made it. It's essentially the same footprint as a roll-off roof, except that you roll the telescope out onto your concrete pad rather than rolling your roof off onto a set of rails. So I've really been enjoying it. Of course, the penalty for new telescopes is cloudy skies. And as Scott can tell you, this has been one of the wettest springs we've had in Arkansas in a decade. The weather's been absolutely terrible. We've had very, very few clear nights since the beginning of the year, really. So there we are. We're set up, and Scott has talked about sometime maybe having a global star party hosted from on the university site, on the observatory site, which I would love.
Yeah, that would be
I think
fun.
that would be loads of fun.
That would be fun. So there's some questions here. John Ray wants to know if you accept camping.
If I did what, sir?
If you accept camping. During
Yes,
the star
absolutely.
party. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, we have a nice place up on the high side of our property, which is actually a prepared driveway where you could John can bring in his motor home and park on the grounds inside the fence. And yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Right. Okay. I'm intrigued with the idea of doing a global star party from there. And
I think it would be fun. I do
would
have
be
good
fun.
Wi-Fi from out on the observatory floor.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, good enough. Well, and knowing you probably got pretty fast internet. So
Yes, we have the Cat 6 or whatever the latest and greatest is supposed to be, fiber optic,
Yep.
la-di-da. So it's quite fast. And unlike at my old house where I had the router downstairs and my office was upstairs, here the router is much closer and the Wi-Fi is better. And so my presentations are, I hope, crystal clear, and they don't buffer and judder and come to a stop mid-sentence.
no,
like
it
they
looks really
sometimes do
good.
before.
It does. So that's
So-
really great.
Daniel, I have a question.
Sure.
Your lecture touched me very personally because your telescope is identical to my Eureka, which is also a 12-inch stub, which I got from Explore Scientific. Daniel, I want to put it on a similar wheel set to the one you have. Is that something that's commercially available?
Oh,
Or-
actually, David, I designed and built that myself. I had
Oh.
a JMI dolly on the Appomattox some years ago. It collapsed. My wife and I caught the scope and lowered it to the ground with very little damage, only some cosmetic scratches on the outside of the tube. But I designed this dolly to hold over 1,000 pounds, and it's low profile. It never goes up or down more than about 1.5 inches, so 2 centimeters. And that means that even if one of those casters were to collapse, the telescope doesn't have anywhere to fall.
Yeah,
The problem with the old dolly is that the telescope, the base of the tripod itself was 8 or 10 inches off the ground. So when the dolly failed, it had a long way to fall and get some momentum up. And we have a devil of a time capturing it safely. And we did, minor miracle.
Yeah.
well, unlike your structure, I do have a roll-off observatory that it's.
I will get the dolly plans to Scott on a PDF, and he can post them
Sure.
on the Explore website.
We'll put them
for
on
download for
your
free.
ambassador page. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can post
Okay.
it wherever you like, Scott. And it's a simple design. The Dobsonian dolly takes half a sheet of plywood. The big tripod dollies take 1 sheet each. So it's fairly inexpensive, and I built this with a jigsaw and an orbital sander and a power drill was basically my only tools.
Ooh,
Not
And
bad.
I drafted out the plan and then I transferred the plan to the wood and took my jigsaw. Is it fine furniture, David? It is not. But in the dark, it looks just fine. And they are sturdy and functional and they roll well. And each corner of the big tripod dolly sits on a 4-inch anti-vibration pad. So when you drop those wheels, and some people have crabbed about the wheels. They're small. Yes, they're I think 2.5-inch polystyrene wheels. So they're like rollerblade wheels. They're hard thermoplastic, but they only roll on concrete. Other people have criticized, oh, he has that nice lawn and so to set his scope up on concrete where it'll get warm during the day. Well, yes, but the idea that it's an observatory floor. So yes, it's concrete and I can roll my scope in and out. The whole, as you saw, it's just a matter of throw the door up, roll the instrument that I want out, and it makes it very, very nice for me in my retirement to have all my instruments literally at my fingertips. If someone wants to come over, sure, of course. Well, it might not be clear all night. That's okay. If we have a window, it's so easy to set up. And I really, I think the design is a triumph. I really do. And I hope it becomes more popular. The rollout
Well,
observatory.
my observatory is a genuine roll off. But the other night, while I was admiring Eureka and thinking of telling Scotty just what a wonderful telescope it was, I walked into Minerva, the 6-inch, completely knocking it over. Mirror fell out and everything. Major damage to that telescope that I've had for 58 years.
Oh,
Wow.
58 years. Oh, goodness.
58 years.
Yeah.
Almost as old as I am.
Almost.
Goodness.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much there, Daniel. We hope to have you on and maybe have another edition of How Do You Know?
Yes.
that
And I
would be
think
a
I
lot
can
of
do
fun.
those from the observatory floor, which might be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I
So-
have my studio working now and it looks like a respectable place where a reasonable scientist might dwell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks
So-
like we have someone that hasn't been able to show up tonight. So I'm going to check and see if Marcello Souza is available to go on next here. And let's see what happens. Oh, there he is. Great. All right. There you go. So he's there.
One moment starts in a few
Okay,
minutes.
no problem. Yeah, I know
One
he's
minute.
coming on a little bit early, so. But you know, I know that you spend a lifetime in science, Daniel.
Okay.
You know, and it's wonderful that you've got the observatory and stuff built up. But what's your take on you know, the current state of science outreach at this point? Do you think this is something where
I
all
think
of
we
us
live
need to get
kind of
back
in
out and do?
we live kind of in a golden age.
Yeah.
In that better equipment is available at lower cost now than ever before. And
True.
the amount of literally hands-off bulletproof intelligence you can put in your backyard for a couple $1,000s is beyond anything NASA had a decade or two ago. And the amount of automation you can put in your backyard with a telescope is absolutely stunning. But
Mm-hmm.
visual astronomy, people who can go out and look at the sky and say, ah, there's Scorpio. I want to point here because that's M4. And the people with an internal map of the sky who can go out and take people out and both explore on their own and take others for a tour without the help of a computer intervening between them and the sky,
Yeah.
that number is shrinking, and it's something that I think we need to actively work to make sure we don't lose that skill. because if we lose that skill and we lose electricity or we lose power or we lose the internet, Scott, a customer of yours and mine, who is in Explore Scientific, bought an expensive robotic telescope and took it out to the wilds of the Mojave Desert and came back dissatisfied that it didn't work, but it didn't work because it didn't have a connection to the internet.
Oh, right.
And
Yep.
the customer was kind of stunned. I didn't know I needed that. I thought I just needed that to download things. And so we love our technology, but we run up against the limits of it far too easily. And if it's you and I under a dark sky, Scott, and we are stumped, we can learn more. We can become better astronomers. We can become more skilled with the equipment we have on hand.
All right.
And there are things we cannot do. We cannot collect photons in our retinas for, an hour's time. We can't do that. Cameras can, but we can do things with our eye. And as physical visual astronomers that computers will never do.
Yeah.
And so there you go.
There you go. I was leaving Starmus, that was held in La Palma. It's part of Spain, but it's actually on a separate island off the coast of Northwest Africa. And so my connector flight was in Madrid, and as I'm getting ready to get on the plane and everything, somebody standing in line in front of me told me, well, you're going nowhere because there's no power in Spain. And I thought it was a joke.
You were caught up in that blackout.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I was lucky enough to be able to get out of line, turn around, get a taxi, go back to the hotel where I was, and wait it out. And the island of La Palma still had power, had its own power, had its own internet, had everything. But I was sitting there so grateful that we were still connected,
Yes.
And so it was not an unpleasant stay, but it did make me reflect on how much that is part of our lives. So anyhow, well, thank you again, Daniel, and we will see you next time. Okay.
Yes, it's very good to see everybody.
Okay.
And I will talk to you guys soon. Marcelo?
All right. Thanks. All right. Our next speaker is Dr. Marcello Souza. He doesn't like me to call him doctor. I think that's part of his, his modesty, but he is a physicist. He teaches astronomy and physics in Brazil, and he puts on some of the best outreach programs in the world. And so we're lucky to have him on most global star parties. Marcello, it's all yours.
Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you very much for the invitation, Scott. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you. Great
I will
pleasure.
share my screen now in a moment. I think that everything will work fine today because it's a new computer. Then
No, the camera's nice. It's very sharp. Looks very good.
Is a new camera also and a new microphone.
And a new microphone. Wow. Okay.
I'm trying to use the new technologies now.
Mhm.
And this is our astronomy club here in Brazil. I work in university. This is I have members from different institutions that participate in this astronomy club that now has 29 years of activities. These are our Instagrams, my Instagram and the Instagram of Louis Cruz. Let me see if it changed this. Okay. And I will show some activities that we developed from the last week and this week. This is for the first time, we made the observation of the sun using the unistellar with a solar filter in a school. This is solar filter, received a donation from the SETI Institute. And this was the first test that we did.
Oh, wow.
With the sun.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I had another opportunity to make another test because we are approaching the winter, and the winter is the best moment here in Brazil to observe the sky because we don't have so humidity. You have a few clouds in the sky, and this is the solar filter and telescope. And this is the image that I took yesterday of the sun. We had a lot of sunspots, and today, few minutes ago, we had a X flare in the direction of the Earth. I don't know what if you have a CME come, but it happened a few minutes ago. And this is another activity because you have a school of astronomy for the kids at night, and this happened also yesterday, using the Unistellar, and we had the opportunity to see some objects of the southern sky, and it was clear. And this is the Trifid Nebula. That is a fantastic object, but now I will show some objects of the southern sky. After the Sombrero, I forgot, Sombrero Galaxy
Oh, that's
also.
nice.
I had the opportunity. I'm showing here because I showed in other moments, but this, you can see the Trifid Nebula, the Sombrero Galaxy, only 5 minutes of to get this image. And this is the Carina Nebula, now the southern object here, only 2 minutes of exposition.
Wow.
This is Omega Centauri with 2 minutes also. And this is the Geobox in the Southern Cross, near the Mimosa. We call Mimosa here in Brazil, the star, near the Mimosa. This is the beta of the Southern Cross. And this is a fantastic object here for us. You have we ever talk with the students that you have an A letter. Looks like an A letter. And different colors of stars. Then the fantastic object to show here for the students. And this, we had the opportunity in the beginning of, near the end of May and during June, in 2 days, we have 30 minutes of use in a telescope in Hawaii, Hanauke.
Wow.
These are the students that they were with me at the university, and we got these images. This is NGC 7814. All the images, the time of 30 seconds, 40 seconds, no more than this, that I use for this. This is the NGC 7, sorry. Yes, it's correct. NGC 7184.
Wow.
We tried to
Nice.
get images of spiral galaxies, and this is one that's fantastic for me. That is Saturn Nebula, that looks like the planet Saturn. That is the NGC 7009. That looks like the planet Saturn. That is something that is fantastic in this resolution that we had the opportunity. Is a 2 meters telescope. This is another galaxy, NGC 7606. Another one, NGC 6908. This is another that's fantastic one, that is NGC 278. And this is the last one, that's NGC 6962. For me, ever is a fantastic experience to have the opportunity to use these telescopes online from Brazil. And this is, we thank the Las Cumbres Observatory for the opportunity to use. And we also participate in a project that you have the opportunity to use the telescope with 40 centimeters. That is a project for astronomy clubs. And now we are sending 2 experiments to space in the project Cubes in Space. It's not for space, it is experiments we will be sending to suborbital flight in a balloon, NASA's balloon. And we are preparing the experiment. We are sending seeds, and we analyze the effects of radiation in the seeds. Seeds of Brazilian plants here. These are the students in a public school here that participate in this project. And now we are near the winter. In June 20 will be the date that I have the winter solstice here in Brazil. For us, it will be in June 20, because of the time zone, it will be in June 20. And in Brazil is something that's curious, because we have part of Brazil, in the north of Brazil, that is in the north hemisphere, is a small part of Brazil.
That's
Most of
interesting.
Brazil is located in southern hemisphere.
Uh-huh.
And we have the Tropic of Capricorn, that is in the south region of Brazil, part of the southeast region of Brazil. But when we talk about climate here in Brazil, it's different from other countries, because we have part of Brazil near the equator.
Yes.
That is the Amazon, the north region of Brazil, the northeast region of Brazil. For them, they don't have winters there, like we have here. It is hot every time. And the difference
All the time.
all the time it is hot. But you have the difference because part of the year you don't have so many rains. And you have part of the year that you have rains every day. Then you have the winter and the summer. For them is when you have rains or when you don't have rains every day. But it's hot all the time. And this is my country here, the equator there, and the Capricorn, the Tropic of Capricorn here, in the south and southeast region of Brazil. And as I said, in the north region, it's hot ever. Here, where I live, it is cold now, and the south region of Brazil is cold. But for us here, cold, when I say that it's cold, is because it is 20 degrees. It's for me here, 20 degrees, 18 degrees Celsius is very cold. But in the south region of Brazil, we have lower temperatures, and it's really cold. The coldest region here for Brazil, north and north region. This is something curious because in a state in Brazil that you call Amapá, you have a sundial here, and this sundial during the equinox, you have, because it is in the line of the equator, the sundial, and during the equinox, you have the shadow here in the line that you see in the floor. It's only 2 times a year that you have that. This is the line of the equator.
That is so cool.
That's something fantastic that you have there. This is where you have then a friend of mine that made the project. He's not with us, but he that was responsible to make this project, and it is fantastic. Project. They go there during the equinox to celebrate. And here is the north region of Brazil, but it's not, when you say Amazon, it's not only Brazil. We have other countries that part of the forest are there, like Venezuela, Colombia, Peru, Equator, Bolivia, Suriname, Guyana. Then it's a fantastic place. I was there. It is a city there that is the biggest city in the north region, that is Manaus. And the river, they use the river to go to any place because you don't have roads. Then they need the boats to go to any place there. And in this period, here in the northeast of Brazil, in the southeast in Brazil, and the south of Brazil, we have the Junipart. That comes from Europe. That's a celebration that you do with typical musics here from Brazil. And the most important day is the St. John's Day. That is in June 24. That is the most important moment. And everybody goes to different places to dance. And it is a kind of celebration of the winter here in Brazil that we have. This is how the Brazilian music at this period. It's a typical Brazilian dancing.
That's cool. Brazil likes to party.
All the schools, you have this in all the schools here in Brazil. This is in one school here in Brazil. Everybody try to participate and have memories for all the life, participate in this kind of project. And here in Rio de Janeiro, and sometimes we have this, we have 10 degrees here, cool. And nobody goes to the streets, stay at home. In the south region of Brazil, we don't have snow here in Brazil, but in some places in the south region of Brazil, sometimes we have snow there. And this is something curious. You have here the Capricorn, Tropic of Capricorn here, and you have a road that the top of Capricorn crosses the roads. And you have a sign here saying that in this place, pass the Tropic of Capricorn. That is a special road that you have in one of the biggest Brazilian states, that is São Paulo. And you have signs in different parts of these roads and the other roads that the Tropic of Capricorn cross. Here is a moment we have snow in the south region of Brazil. When they have snow there, everybody travels to this place to know the snow. This is the region and south region of Brazil. And now I would like only to say some words about what we are living in the world now that I've concerned. I hope soon we have peace in all the places in the world. In just a few thousand years of civilization, humanity has acquired impressive technological mastery and has been able to provide better living conditions for people. We have recently seen civilizational achievements being destroyed. My generation is causing this destruction in the world. Our main role is to make the world a better place for future generations. Then, despite the difficult times we are living in, I maintain the hope that somehow it will awaken in people's hearts the noblest feelings of respect and affection for other people. This I hope.
Beautiful.
That one day all the kids will be together again and you have no wars. We can live in peace.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Scott, for the
Beautiful.
opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcello.
It's a great pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's a great pleasure to have you. So that's wonderful. Okay. As I mentioned, to Marcello earlier, I hope to be at the next IMAA meeting. So 2026.
You'll be very welcome here.
Should be a lot of fun. Yeah.
2000. I already, our group already knows that you are coming. They are celebrating here.
Should be a great fun.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Okay. Marcello, thanks a lot. Our next speaker, we go from Brazil down to Argentina, and our next speaker is Cesar Brolo. Cesar, are you available? Let's see.
Hi.
There he is.
Hello.
There he is.
Yes,
I am. The
I'm here.
Magellanic Cloud behind you. Yes.
Sure.
Welcome, Caesar.
I'm here. Yes, yes.
All good? Mhm.
Wow.
Excellent, excellent. I can show you now. We are going to make some live image now.
Okay.
In my balcony, it's the. I'm going to share. Let me check to share my. Okay. Now we are going up because I explain what I am doing, and let me check if I can move. Yes, now I can move my dwarf telescope.
Mm-hmm.
This is the view
Oh,
from
this
my
is the
balcony.
dwarf? Yeah.
Yes, this is the dwarf.
Okay.
I am going to show the sky first. Let me check, because something that you can see now is the garden, and I'm going to point the telescope to the sky. Here you can see the buildings. All is from my balcony. And we are going to choose something. Okay. You know better than me, my neighborhood. It's an international.
Yeah, we have seen
you
through.
know.
That's right.
How many stories is that building, Caesar?
Sorry. I
How
couldn't.
tall?
Hi,
How tall?
John. How are you?
Hi.
So repeat me the
How many floors?
and the tower is only 37.
Okay.
But my apartment is in the third floor.
Okay.
Sometimes I go to the roof, the top roof, for showing more quantity of objects. But tonight is a little cold to go to the rooftop. In the rooftop, of course, that I have an open area, but now we are searching something. Maybe we can choose something from the Vela constellation. Vela Carina is because I am pointing now to the south. Sorry, by the quality is the same that I can see my cell phone now. Okay. But the first thing is choose an area of the sky open.
Mm-hmm.
And we are choosing now something in the sky open. And now
And this is from inside your.
I'm the dwarf, the telescope, the smart telescope is in the balcony now.
Oh, it is in the balcony. Okay.
In the balcony. Okay. But I'm inside.
Yeah, you're
driving
inside.
my telescope.
Yes.
Beautiful. That's too cool.
Yeah, yes. The wide camera is the camera that I'm using now to point to the sky.
Right.
To choose an open zone of the sky. The experiment for tonight is try to make
What are you going
Okay.
for? Omega's up right now.
Yeah.
Omega's up. I've been looking at it on my patio. It's very low at 9:15.
Yeah, but here the problem is that Omega
Oh, the
Centauri,
buildings.
yes, but
Yes.
now Omega is really is over
Should
my
be
head.
high. Oh man.
Okay. I'm changed the camera, the wide camera. I put this. I try to move.
So it's really simplified your process from before because everything's automated now.
Yes.
And
No,
you're
it's an incredible technology,
yes.
really.
Did you get the new one or you have the older one? I know there's two versions.
No, this is the new version, the
Okay.
3 one.
It's amazing what they can do with these things now.
Yeah, absolutely. But I change again. I don't know why. Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to appoint first. I read too late that I'm going to present now because I had another time. Yes, I thought that my presentation is going to be at 1 hour later.
Oh, you're scrambled. You weren't ready.
Yeah. Oh, but yes, but
We can have you come back on in a little bit from now if you'd like.
yes, in 15 minutes only because only
Yeah.
I need
Okay.
to choose the object. And
No
in
problem.
15 minutes, if somebody can present,
Yeah, we'll
I'm
have
prepared. Yes.
Robert
Now-
Reeves is with us.
Yes,
so
yes.
we can have Robert come on and give us some.
If not a problem,
postcards from the
sorry,
moon.
but yeah,
No problem.
thank you very much.
No
yes,
problem.
yes. I prepare now the object in 15 minutes. No problem.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, we see you in 15 minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. And Robert Reeves, how are you tonight?
Doing good. Been a very eventful day, but thankfully it's slowed down a little bit now.
Yeah, very good. Very good. It's glad to see you again. And so getting everybody's schedules this time for a Global Star Party was a challenge. I have a new staff now, and I'm teaching them how to put together the schedules and create the pages and all the stuff we do behind the scenes. And
Yeah, I saw
so,
a new name on the email.
yeah, Mickey Wong is doing a lot of the work now, and so that's great. But maybe at one point or another, I can bring her onto the show, and she's a little bit shy, I think. So,
Well, everybody wants to know the face behind the names, and in an organization like this, and tell her don't be shy. We don't bite.
we don't bite. That's
Yeah,
right.
not at all. We're kind of a tame bunch, actually.
Yeah,
a
that's
little
right.
strange, but we're tame.
That's all right.
No, well, yeah, the theme tonight, well, at least the perception part of it, I can grab a handle on, and you know, how we perceive the moon, of course, which has changed over the centuries.
Mhm.
And
We have a presence on the moon. We have some robots. We landed on the moon, put boots
Absolutely.
on the ground there, and so out of all the worlds, other than this one, it's the only one that we've actually visited. So
This is true, and had the good fortune of getting a preview of some of the stuff that will be going to the moon in the very near future, assuming the programs don't get canceled and Artemis actually finally flies.
yes.
But let me see about sharing screen and making this work. Share, and
Here we go.
hopefully my
Yeah, full screen looks good.
Cool. Wow, surprise. It's amazing when this works. But yeah, perceptions. Yeah, so the moon. We've had this perception of the moon ingrained in our soul for millennia. I mean, the caveman used to stare at the moon, and there's archaeological evidence as far as 24,000 years ago that early man was keeping tabs of what was happening with the moon, primarily for timekeeping. But up until a little over 400 years ago, this is about as good as we could see the moon. If you have, this may actually be a too higher resolution, trying to simulate what a person with really good vision can see. Clearly, we can see dark Maria, of course, as the spots that create the face of the man on the moon. But people with average vision can also, during full moon, see the bright splash of rays from Tycho crater. Now, what we don't see, though, is Tycho crater itself. And I see in this image, Tycho is peeking in there, and that may be a little bit beyond what the average person can see. But we can certainly see up in the upper left-hand corner, the three bright splashes of rays for Kepler, Copernicus, and Aristarchus craters. Now, those we can see at a rising full moon. Oh, this is breaking above the horizon. And this is how we saw the moon until just about a little over 400 years ago, when the telescope was applied to astronomy by Galileo and his contemporaries back in the early 17th century. So, whoops, wrong way. I may have been showing the second slide by mistake.
John Ray is saying, welcome back, Robert. Always an enjoyable talk. My moon globe is in hand to attempt to follow your postcard.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome. And I hear there's quite a few old friends here. Barbara Harris, I want to say hi to you. I understand you're on the air with us too. And I saw your lovely shot of the lunar X and the lunar Y, and or lunar V, and I've been desperately trying to transfer it from my phone into my laptop to share it with everybody, and I have failed. I cannot get it online, or at least in my image folder. But I do appreciate the shot, and I hope you're doing well. But pressing on, just an ordinary pair of binoculars are the most basic telescopic help will begin to show us more details on the moon. Pair of binoculars, for instance, now we can actually see the little spot of Tycho crater nested in the middle of all those rays. So at this point, we're already understanding the moon a little bit better than all of humanity prior to the 17th century. And come on, slide advance. There you go. It's taking its time. A modest telescope, just barely being a little bit more than a toy, will show us more moon than scientists, astronomers could figure out up to about 200 years ago. And whoops, little kitty in my background here. Then progressing on to higher magnifications. What's happening here? Oh, I see what I was doing. This image is slightly blurred. Telescopes back 400 years ago, when we first started charting the moon, well, they weren't the greatest optical quality. They were single lens achromats, or not even achromats, they're just single lens telescopes, and the resolution was rather poor. So even though
we might have lost Robert. Let's give him a few minutes here. So Harold, I see you're reading Galileo's book, The Sidereal Messenger. Is it an easy read, or is it is the Old English a little tough? Okay. Okay, Robert's back on.
Something went boom there.
Yeah, I think it was the cat.
Yeah, could be. Let me go back to
there you go.
Sharing, and
There you
Oh.
go. Perfect. You picked it right back up again. Perfect.
Alrighty. Okay. As I was saying, these are it's not just enlarging the same one over and over again. That was beginning to worry me. Like I said, the early telescopes, not very good quality. So we get a view of the moon like this. You know, the features are a little bit blurred. The early moon maps, you look at the ones by Hevelius and his contemporaries 400 years ago, you're wondering, are they even looking at the same world that we call our moon? But better, come on, go the right way. Better optics, and now we see much finer detail. Of course, any amateur good size telescope, a modest 6 or 8 inch telescope, will give us astonishing views of the moon that would make lunar scientists 100 years ago jealous. Where we see details on the moon that we now understand because of modern science, modern space age exploration. We know what they are, and I begin to understand them very, very well. And oh, come on, larger telescopes are large-sized Dobsonian, C14, and so forth, give us extraordinary views of the moon. And while it can magnify the view, we have to that as well. So going back to the days of Hevelius and Langrenus, when they first started charting the moon, like I said, makes you wonder if they're even looking at the same world that we look at today. Now, we can grossly see that some of the features kind of match what we see on the moon today, but how you make this map by Hevelius, how you make that into the modern moon is beyond me. But the one thing he did get right, though, is showing the libration of the moon, how the moon's face nods up and down or rocks side to side. So he showed the moon in 2 overlapping circles, showing it tipped as far forward in the north as possible, and then as far forward in the south as possible. That was a beginning of the basic understanding of the orbital motions of the moon. Progressing on, today we see, for instance, Plato crater, paved over with basalt, paved over smoother than a grocery store parking lot. But back 400 years ago, they thought the moon, the dark regions on the moon, were water. And Plato wasn't seen as a crater. It was called the Greater Black Lake, thinking it was a body of water.
I see.
Copernicus crater, a showpiece for us these days, was mislabeled as a mountain. And even up to 200 years ago, this feature, Rumker, Mons Rumker, this 70-kilometer high plateau with a half a dozen lunar domes on it, it was classified or charted as a crater, an indentation in the moon. But here we clearly see it's an elevated. So, I'd like to liken Rumker to a wad of chewing gum stuck on a parking lot, but it is definitely not a crater. So our perception of the moon changes. The more we learn a little bit about it, the better understanding we have, and that branches out and allows understanding of other areas of the moon. But in the what is going on here? There we go.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
We jump up to the space age, and we start charting the moon, the lunar orbiter satellites in orbit around the moon, doing extraordinarily high resolution of the moon, orders of magnitude more than we can see from the Earth. And it was primarily to chart the Apollo landing sites, find a place for Apollo to light safely on the moon. But it also charted regions of the moon that we can't see from the Earth. Of all the 5 lunar orbiter missions, all the images taken by the lunar orbiter satellites, so over 1,600 of them, charting the moon in extraordinary detail. This image, taken by Lunar Orbiter 4 in 1967, I think is the premier image in our understanding of the modern moon. This showed the Oriental Basin, from overhead. We only see this from Earth at an extreme slant, right on the very western limb of the moon. We didn't understand that it was a basin until the space age. And here we see the concentric rings of the impact basin cradling the Mare Orientale in the middle, the dark Mare spot. We see the radial lines of ejecta, the lines of craters radiating out from it, clearly indicating a massive impact. And this drove the nail in the coffin of everybody who didn't understand that the moon's face was created by impacts. The impact versus volcanism argument ended with this. And our perception of the moon entered the modern era where we geologically understand it. And it's no longer a speculation. We can now deal with fact. Now, my own personal perception of the moon is still changing today. About 2 weeks ago, I had some fun with my online Facebook postcards from the moon, where I discovered a feature that had been staring me in the face for years, and I never recognized it. And I've bracketed it with these 2 lines, and this string of craterlets loops out, arcs back to Aristotle's crater. My interest in it is, there's linear chain streaming out in all directions, but here this new parallel streams arc together and then return. I've never seen anything like that on the moon. This is unique, and for that reason, I've named it the racetrack, because it looks like a circular oval racetrack to an old NASCAR fan like me. So the moon our perception of the moon is changing virtually on a daily basis. The more we look at it, the more we understand, the more we see, the more we recognize and pick up on details that we have completely missed over the years. Now, jumping into a different tangent on understanding the moon. Last week, I went over to Southwest Research Institute here in San Antonio, and they're in the forefront of the modern exploration of the moon. They are making instruments. Well, one of their instruments flew on the Blue Ghost lander, the magnetotelluric sounder, which was I spoke about during the last Global Star Party. That's understand the interior of the moon, the makeup of the moon. But other things going on over there. This particular thing looks like a glorified coffee maker, but what it really is a mock-up prototype of how to robotically gather and sift and analyze samples of lunar soil. And you'd think that's fairly straightforward. Your hand go dumps it into the, not quite that easy. Lunar dust clumps very easily. There's a whole science on how to get it actually into the analyzing chamber. So quite a bit of work is being done over there. The science of creating the proper shape of the funnel so it works in 1/6 G and flows the material, and how to sift it out, and using various type of piezo shakers or static electricity to sift out certain grain sizes. It's all very fascinating to be able to analyze specific types of lunar soil. And this little device, and believe it or not, this is something that shoots pellets at hypervelocities, simulating meteorite impacts on the moon, micrometeorite impacts, in fact. The interior of it is a tiny centrifuge that spins at incredible speeds and shoots the little pellet. And that device is going to be placed in this vacuum chamber that my friend Akbar over at Southwest Research is creating. He's one of the leaders in lunar research at Southwest Research. This particular vacuum chamber, he's building it up from scratch, almost like working with an old erector set back when we were kids. He's having a lot of fun with it, but he can recreate the lunar vacuum, the lunar radiation environment, put the lunar simulants in there and impact it with projectiles at very high speed to determine how lunar regolith is formed and how the lunar soils are formed. Another device that he uses, this little blue chamber, they fly that on these zero-G aircraft where they simulate weightlessness for about 30 seconds during a parabolic arc. But a lot of them, they simulate 1/6 G lunar gravity. And use this test chamber to understand how the properties of the moon came about in the light of the moon. There's a big difference between working with a sample at 1G here on Earth and how it formed in 1/6 gravity on the moon. And this little blue box has flown a lot of aircraft parabolas, splashing lunar simulant material around. Now they've got bags of the stuff, simulant. The original soil samples from the Apollo, analyzed down to all of its fine elements. And there is actually a scientific company that creates lunar simulants that are chemically the same, the granularity the same type of powdery material. So they can perform all these experiments on lunar-like material without eating up the limited supply of stuff that we really brought back from the moon back during the Apollo era. Another fascinating set of equipment out there. There are 3 specialized vacuum chambers here by my friend Guymar. He is one of the principals that works with the Astronomy on Tap here in San Antonio, the Astronomy Outreach. But he's also one of the primary investigators on these vacuum chambers where they put actual Apollo samples in it. I've handled these myself. They've got a bunch of actual Apollo samples from 11, 12, 15, 17. They put these samples inside this vacuum chamber, bring it down to the vacuum like on the moon, and they can irradiate it with ion beams that simulate the solar wind. And they can artificially dose the lunar samples, which you see on the little stage there inside the vacuum chamber, with 3 light mists of water molecules, so they can see how the UV spectrum reflects off of actual lunar material at various wavelengths, and then compare that to the observations by the Lunar Reconnaissance Satellite, which is carrying the LAMP lunar spectrograph that was designed and built by Southwest Research. So this is providing ground truth to what the spectrograph readings are showing coming back from the moon. And another one of the chambers out there, there are 3 of them. They're fairly similar in appearance, but they'll do the same thing. They recreate the lunar environment, the solar radiation environment, to allow them to study how the moon, samples from the moon react to various amounts of water. And that's the whole key that they're studying out there, using the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter Satellite ultraviolet spectrograph to study the reflectance off the surface of the moon, looking for traces of water. The water is present almost everywhere on the moon at the molecule level. Down in the polar regions, though, we think enough of it is accumulated to actually make ice. But on the rest of the moon, spread out across it, they found not considerable amounts of water, but water pretty much everywhere. One of the researchers out there, her name escapes me at the moment, I'm sorry, but she was very heavily involved with the SOFIA missions before the Sophia aircraft was, well, it was decommissioned. It's now a museum piece. Another piece of science that prematurely ended. But the airborne infrared telescope used that to scan the face of the moon, looking for evidence of water. And sure enough, they found it. And vast areas of the moon, molecular water on the surface. But if you gather it all up from like a splash of area the size of Clavius crater, one of the largest craters on the moon, it's just about what a standard little plastic water jug would hold. So the stuff is very tenuous. Like I said, literally molecules of it on the surface. And if this
Was this woman Dr. Nassim Rangwala?
no,
No.
no, I'll recognize her name if you say it.
Casey Hannibal was also someone else.
It popped out of my mind. She works at Southwest Research now, and
okay.
but like I said, whether
Looks like we have frozen up with Robert here. We'll give him a couple of minutes, see if he comes back.
chamber.
There we go.
Did I go away for a minute?
Just for a minute. Another person I found was Dr. Anicia Arredondo.
That's her. That's her.
Okay.
Anicia. Yeah. Fascinating young lady. Used to fly the Sophia. Yeah, that's her. But anyway, yeah, I keep getting a message that says my internet is unstable. So if I vanish, I apologize.
Okay.
But like I said, there are three of these chambers. One of them Slater crater. I forget what the middle one is called, and then the third one they call Rose, which is a ROSE, which is a acronym something I can't remember. But all of this stuff is going on out there at Southwest Research. Now, here is a mass spectrometer that is going to fly on an instrument to determine what the elements are. And this can either be in orbit around the moon or this, whoops, let's go the right way, this little device, which if I go to the next slide, you see that it will extend upward. The case slides up, and the gray panels are simulated solar panels. This is a device that is basically the chassis of the Cygnus spacecraft that Southwest Research created. They kept all the avionics and power supply, and then threw out the science instruments, and then put in their own lunar study instruments. This device collapses down about the size of a large milk crate, got the handles on top. This is designed for a Artemis astronaut to pick up, carry out, and in place on the surface of the moon. And once you raise up the upper part of it to expose the solar panels on the bottom, it opens the ports that you see, the rectangular ports, so that spectrographs and mass analyzers and so forth can sniff the lunar environment. And Southwest Research hopes to be able to emplace quite a few of these things on the surface of the moon. It's some distance away from the landing site. So when the rocket leaves to bring people home, the rocket exhaust doesn't literally kick sand in the face of these instruments. So it's fascinating going out there and seeing all this stuff. But anyway, like I said, about the size of a average size milk crate, and expands upward, and solar panels on all four sides, of course, because this is going to be set up down near the lunar South Pole. So the sun will just kind of roll around the horizon throughout the lunar month. So the thing will always be powered up. I think this might have been my last slide. Yep, that's what it was. Alrighty. Let me unshare, and
okay.
Now my screen is blank.
You're back.
Oh, okay. Well,
Well,
if I'm there, that's fine because I don't see you all. But been a lot of fun. Like I said, it's the perception of the moon, how we perceive it is changing throughout the past centuries, and now it's changing almost on a day by day, week by. Oh, there I am. I'm back now. Um, the the perception of the moon is evolving at a very rapid rate, and
yeah.
and it's a lot of fun to be able to go out and talk to the people who are yeah um, the keynote people who are doing this nowadays, right
Yeah.
here in my backyard here in San Antonio.
So cool. Very cool. Well, thank you very much, Robert. And thanks for making the effort to be on Global Star Party tonight.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you for support me, Robert, with your presentation because I failed in my first. Thank you.
Well, alrighty.
Thank you. You made a beautiful presentation and your lunar images and this all about this richer research and development about that you show is amazing. Really, it's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
You deserve it more.
Okay. Well, Cesar, you got the stage here.
Yes. Actually, well, while Robert was presenting all about the beautiful presentation about the moon, I started to make a picture of Eta Carina. Let me share the screen of my cell phone.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yes, it is really impressive. Actually, you can see where we are in the Eta Carina area. I'm using. You have two different functions in this smart telescope where you can use. You can keep your raw image. Make processing later, or you can make something like we used in the past in another presentations, but with the telescope, like a live stake image and a processing where you can took some values like now, of course that now it's a little low in the horizon and it's near to the wheel that I have in front of me. And but the quality that now we can get is really impressive in middle of a city, and it's a beautiful picture of Eta Carina Nebula. Where we can see the dark areas, the area of explosion, and it's really nice situation. If I can show you too in the same, well, as I'm taking the pictures, well, we are finishing now the pictures. I can show you the final processing with the own software. Okay, now is going to make a little correction of noise and only in 3 minutes. And well, we can stop because we don't need okay, it's okay for me because you have the option to make with artificial intelligence work, but it's the same processing that we make in lower reduction. Okay, this is the final picture of the of Eta Carina Nebula. Look that. Where is the Eta Carina Nebula now? In the field, a high field of view. Look that. This is now the position of Eta Carina Nebula.
Oh, wow.
It's incredible. Many,
When
many
you think of
times.
how much light pollution is there, I mean, and to get
No,
this,
you can
it's really
see now
incredible.
because this is
Are
the
you
so
And this
you can
telescope is
see.
such a tiny little telescope, you know?
Yes, sure.
Right?
It's a
50, right?
You could hold it in one
30
hand.
millimeter.
30 millimeters, yes, by
Yeah.
100 millimeters focus. Yes,
Yeah.
we can choose. We can go to the
Now,
celestial
do you
map.
have it set up on its tape, on its small tripod or a camera tripod?
Over. No, because
It's
now
a pedestal, isn't it?
it's over. It's over. Now it's over. Let me show you. I can show you that.
Yeah, let's see what it looks like.
Yeah. Yes. Because. Oh, sorry.
You could put that on a little stool if you had to.
Yeah. Yes, I can show you because. It's over a small. Maybe you can see the dwarf. It's in my vehicle. Yes.
The reflection.
A table and a box to make compost. That we make our own compost in in the boxes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
On the dwarf is to the left.
Frame. Yes.
Oh,
Sorry.
I see it. I see it at the extreme left of the screen.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, next to the plant.
Oh man, that's tiny.
It's small.
This is my balcony.
It is
Yes,
small.
me and my wife.
And so he's also shooting through a glass window. Okay, that's the
yes,
his
sorry,
patio
that
has
I
a glass
show by
for the
throw,
You're kidding
yeah,
me,
throw
it's
the glass
indoors?
window,
falling
yes.
out of the patio.
Is it
Yes.
outdoors or indoors?
It's pretty amazing.
Yes.
You're getting nice images for all
Yes.
this. Yeah.
Sure. Yes. Well, return. We are going
Okay,
return
go
to. Sorry.
Go back.
Return to the. We are going to another part of the sky.
Okay.
Where we can choose something. This
Oh, yeah.
part of
John Ray is saying, and you have heat coming off the building as well. So that's also true.
Yes. Where we can choose something.
How about the tarantula or coal sack?
No, tarantula is too low now.
Okay.
We try now with this NGC 35 35, 32. 35, 32. That is a beautiful cluster. Wow. Yes. Okay. We say yes. Sorry that I have my settings in Spanish in my dwarf.
That's all right.
Yeah. Yes. But I'm preparing for next weeks of 2 weeks more my 80 millimeters APO in robotic. I have one in Mendoza. And we are going to show you live image from Mendoza with a Bartle 3 or 4. But here, for the balcony, dwarf is an amazing election. It's beautiful, really. Now is okay, calibrating. Wow. It's well, look, that is near to the. Okay, we are making. You can see the changing of. Okay. You can see the cluster now.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start to show you. Oh, we can try. Okay, it's Astro. And the function can try with another filter, maybe.
Light pollution.
Yeah, Astro is like a light pollution.
Oh,
Can
yeah,
try with
they
one.
come with. I think they come with.
Yes, I believe they do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 15 seconds. I choosing 30, 10. Okay, 15 seconds this position. The gain is 70 is okay. And 25 exposures. Okay.
Okay.
No darks because we are in a show.
Yep.
No, the darks help you a lot, of course, in every astronomical take.
Sure.
But the most important thing that tonight we are in a show, in a live image, and the idea is take for the audience something in the same moment.
Right.
Now, well, we are watching
just
now.
the tracking and stacking helps to
Yes, absolutely.
remove noise.
Yes, I just said 25 takes of 15 seconds, and the gain is in 70. That is the middle of the sensitivity of the sensor.
So it's this easy.
Yes, it's terribly easy.
So
And
how long-
yes, it's
how
the
long-
dark side of the astronomy.
The field rotation, how many after 15 seconds? Because it's alt as, you'll get a little rotation, or
Yes, totally, John. And you have a southern or near to the southern pole, and it's resolving the rotation all time.
Right.
The best solution is choose next time. I'll choose the
Equatorial.
the equatorial mode. That is beautiful.
Cool.
Well, okay, it's
Not bad.
it's showing us for us. Yes, the problem is that, of course, that maybe the gain, or we are trying now. We are watching this. We are Duo One filter, but I think that it's only five
Right.
takes.
The more stacks, the better.
Yes, we can wait 20 takes more, and maybe we are watching. It's the same that we make with the telescope, where the gain and the level of noise is going to show a darker background. Yes, thank you, John.
Right.
Thank you, John.
That's looking really good.
Yes, because you can see that the level of this cluster or the Eta Carina Nebula is really low in the horizon.
Yeah, that's amazing. Those are pinpoint. That's
through a window with light pollution. It's
Man,
really
I can't
amazing.
believe you're looking
Yes, I think that this 10.
through a window. Are you kidding me?
Through a window. Yeah. Isn't
Yeah,
that crazy?
yes.
You are the man.
I'm here really warm. Outside is maybe 8 degrees temperature, and it's
it's cold
really
outside.
comfortable here to make to have something like a comfortable astronomy. But it's the same with my telescope. Sometimes I use them all in a remote use in the balcony or but for the rooftop, I can't resolve the internet connection, and I need to go.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that, because the roof, it's probably too far from your actual computer, your wireless.
Yes, but I thought in use 100 meters cable,
Okay.
and scared to my neighborhood with a cable moving in the
Throw
night.
it off the roof.
Yeah, your crazy amateur astronomy
Or you
neighbor.
could use like a helium balloon and raise the cable.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yes. An
gotta get
amateur
creative.
astronomer.
I'm sure
yes.
the neighbors don't mind,
That's right.
Yeah. Yes. If you have an amateur astronomer, crazy
Yeah, you know
neighbor.
something's gonna happen. That's right.
Yes. But it's good people. Sure.
They're always good people.
yes, and is in the same line of my apartment, the corner that I use normally for the for take the picture from the rooftop. And well, I think that I capture. I don't know if you can see. Let me check in this area. I can see some red nebula because very of course that is very faint, very faint. But
So
I can see in the screen of my cell phone, I see the how do you say, like the rest.
Oh, we can
of
see it
the
here
part-
too. We can see it.
Yes,
Some
yes,
faint,
it's a
red
part
nebula.
of the nebulosity
Yes.
of Eta Carina. Yes, I
So
can see
this
it.
cluster, this is the Wishing Well cluster, right? NGC
Yes, the Wishing Well
3532.
cluster. Yeah, is
Okay.
the name. Very
This
near to
is,
the Eta Carina Nebula. Very nice for watching at the telescope. And you can see, of course, at the naked eyes because it's too bright. And I try another cluster. Well, this is finishing the, and we can
Yeah,
see.
look how much less noise there was when you first started this image. It's starting to, and this is just tracking and stacking. If you use darks on top of this, it would be way better. But this is amazing. I mean, we are starting to see the red nebulosity, especially in the lower left-hand corner of this image.
Yes, Scott. Yes. You're saying the right thing, because it's. I know that you can see because you're describing me is really where is the nebulosity is.
Yes.
And incredible. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Well,
use the dual band.
our audience is also starting to see it. So.
Yes, and
oh yeah, check that out.
We can stretch the image and.
Okay.
This is incredible because we are making this with a cell phone. But the unit, the dwarf is an amazing.
And you're broadcasting it around the world right now. So that's very cool. Yeah, this object is 1,300 light years away. You said it is visible to the naked eye. It is magnitude 3, so that's pretty easy to see.
Yes.
It's big. It's about 1 degree of sky. So that cluster, 150 bright stars.
It almost looks like M36.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was discovered by Nicholas Louis Decal in 1752. So I wonder what he'd think about that today. If we could somehow bring him back from 1752, he would probably be more than blown away.
Yes, the quantity of the quantity of nebulosity that we capture was for me a surprise, because so low in the horizon, near to the building, but it's like many times with the telescope and the camera. But now it's a small unit, making all from my cell phone, and this is something like, come on! I am expected this technology only 5 years ago. This is amazing. Now I think that this picture deserve weight the noise reduction process, and we can watch when it will be ready. I think that we are going to enjoy this picture because it's a great picture for the position of the object in the sky. Is as many times we told about no excuses to make for make astronomy from the city, and now less excuses. No, it's incredible. It's incredible. is finishing the noise reduction.
You could see the nebulosity around it too.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
It's really good.
This
Totally.
discoverer, Nicholas Louis de Lacaille or Lacaille,
No.
was making he made a trip into the to Cape of Good Hope in 1751 to 1753, so a 2-year trip. Yeah, he probably would have described this as a gathering of stars. I think he was probably quite taken with its, its brilliance and its beauty. And
back then, it was like so dark. It would be like amazing to see.
And something that we can say about the open clusters is that science is that astronomers are very interested in study open cluster in the past or for many years was not an object of attention for astronomers because maybe globular cluster or big globular cluster are more available to study because sometimes they have a black holes inside, or and but really today the gravity forces and the gravity, how do you say, the gravity especially the gravity forces, the gravity of how acting the gravity in
the way it affects.
Open cluster is more interesting to understand gravity for many astronomers than in the globular clusters. It's very interesting.
This view might have been very much like what he would have seen, because he used an achromatic refractor. That I guess a couple of different ones. One was only a 1/2-inch aperture. His biggest telescope that he took down there was a 1-inch, and it had very low magnification,
like 3 power.
Yeah.
Yes.
30.
Yep. Yes, or a binocular is perfect for this cluster.
Yes, that's right.
I'm searching something more if we have time. If not, no problem. We can stop my presentation, finish my presentation here, because we made up in 15 minutes we make a picture of a nebula and a cluster. And it's too much for tonight. Yes, for the audience. Yes, we can make how do you say, we can prepare another object for next
time
party. Yes. But I hope that the audience is happy tonight. We can try only maybe like I think that is impossible tonight, but because it's too high. It's too high. I think
there's some comments.
Oh, that's a terrible problem you have. It's too high. I wish I had that problem.
Yeah. There's some comments here. Jeff Wise says the dwarf is
I am from the south.
You're so lucky.
No, but I think that Omega Centauri cluster is too high for tonight, but because the roof of my balcony is but for if don't appear tonight and say that fail, next time we start with the Omega Centauri cluster. But now maybe we are lucky and we can try maybe. I think that
Scott, sorry to cut you off there. There was a question.
No, yeah, it wasn't a question. It's just some comments. Yeah. Jeff Wise said the dwarf is a giant. And Adrian Nowick says, my experience without using EQ mode in dwarf is to go no more than 10 seconds to avoid star moving problems. Kim T Says the wishing well cluster is majestic and a wide field refractor for big binoculars from a dark sky sight. And so anyways, Cesar, thank you so much.
Thank you so
for
much.
sharing this with us.
I have the picture, but I send you. I have in my in my field of view of the telescope.
It's in there.
No, I can show you after the presentation of I don't know who is after me, but
that would be
I think
John
I am.
Schwartz. Yep.
I am. You can jump in. Just work on it and jump in when you get it.
yeah.
That's a beauty. I could see it now. That's about what it looks like from my house through binoculars.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
faint.
I'm start to make the
It's only.
Sorry, John.
Oh no, I
tell
was
me,
going
tell
to
me.
say it's 12 degrees off, like maybe 15 degrees at its highest. So that the arc is very minimal. You have a short window, and I'm so happy I was able to get it with binoculars.
Wow. Yes, and here is now at 65 degrees. Then my problem is that was too high.
Yeah.
Yes. It's crazy. It's crazy that we are talking that it's the same for me when I like to for me it's the same for Andromeda Galaxy, that it's so impossible.
Oh man.
Yes, it's the
Really,
same.
it's low. It's north, right?
Yes, for us it's so to the north and low in the horizon. Andromeda Galaxy is really low, but for very, very dark skies, and it's a beautiful option. I'm changing again, the option of Omega Centauri cluster. But of course that I can finish here, but if I show you after the next presentation the Omega Centauri picture, no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We'll end the program with Omega Centauri.
Yes.
And now
Yes. A little more, and we can talk about the two possible two black holes inside the nebula. The nebula, the cluster, sorry.
That might have been a galaxy, they said, at some point.
Yes. Yeah, sure. It's amazing. C80, okay. C80, perfectly. No, I center much better the option, the cluster for a much better picture quality. And okay. Yes, I center a little more the cluster. I think that by the field that have this dwarf telescope, I'll choosing more pictures and a little more of sensitivity, because this is high in the
yeah.
Yes. I use the 15 minutes presentation from John to expose 15 minutes.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yes. And I invite you, Scott, when I have the picture ready.
Okay. All right. We'll be waiting right here.
Awesome. Thank you.
It's crazy, all this. Okay.
All right.
I'm
John,
enjoying
are you at Mount Wilson again? Is that
I
where
am
you
at
are?
Wilson. I'm
Okay.
here with
Right.
my friend, the 60
Oh, yeah,
inch.
60-inch. That's right.
So we were going to look for asteroids tonight, but there's too many satellites. You can't tell what's what.
Mm-hmm.
But that's quite an observatory, as you know, and you've been there many times. And
yeah,
it's almost
beautiful
enchanted.
Yeah, it is enchanted. When you stand in that dome, it feels sacred. It does.
The presence of Edwin Hubble is all throughout.
It's allegedly even haunted. Okay.
Well, I believe that, because when I was in the restroom down in the guts of the observatory, there was like some weird feelings.
Something going on there.
I got scared and ran up the stairs because nobody was down there.
Oh, wow. So, Tom Meneghini, who runs the observatories there, the 60-inch and the 100-inch, does claim to have actually seen a figure in the shadows, kind of in the shadows there looking on. And He
freaked
thinks it
out.
was, I think he said it was Carnegie, that's who he
Oh,
thinks it is.
Man,
Yeah. And I mean, he's very convinced, you know.
you slept up
No,
there
I
too.
don't, oh yeah, I've stayed in both domes and you hear, you know, creaking,
Creaks.
stuff like that, you know, but it's the cooling down and the expansion.
Sure.
Or
And
it's phantoms. I don't know, but
You know, I was in the Phantom of the Opera stage when I worked at Universal doing some maintenance in there, and you know, you freak
Oh,
yourself
okay.
out.
yeah,
I don't think there was anything, but you hear noises and it goes to your mind. Even
yeah, yeah.
observing, you know, late at night observing, I hear things moving in the bush and I'm scared. I think it's a grizzly bear, but
Right.
it turned out they were only mice. But still, I had to leave because I got,
Hey, when mice bite, that
yeah.
hurts.
Well,
That
they'll
hurts,
chew the
man.
heck out of your equipment too if they get in.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm gonna start my thing. I'm gonna put it
Okay.
together real quick. So you know, we've had strange weather out here in California. It's just
Everywhere.
we're finally getting some ideal conditions, which is very good. I've been waiting, you know, and we're gonna finally get out to the mountain and go up to Pine House. Actually, maybe this coming new moon weekend, which would be Wednesday the 25th, I think, is the new moon.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all going to get together. We're going to bring the big guns up. You know, it'd be nice to. Andrew got a dwarf, and he may bring that. You know, that dwarf could even put the hurt on a 30-inch on some objects.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier. But anyway, so I'll start my presentation. So the topic is presence and perspective. So, you know, a lot of times when you're out under the stars or on top of a mountain, you look up and you just wonder, wow, this is a lot of stars. And I'm just this teeny little speck on this little speck floating around. And how do I fit in? And why am I here? And what is, you know, you try to figure out and, you know, what our purpose is. And you look at the cosmos because, you know, we came from the cosmos and I think we're headed to the cosmos eventually. So we're drawn to it. And it's very important for us to observe and get perspective. You know, if you've ever been out camping under a campfire and you're looking up at the stars and the trees and you're breathing the air and you're just going, wow, this is absolutely incredible. And you again sit back and you always wonder how many stars are there, and gosh, what do we do if we could ever go to those stars? And you know, it just gets your mind working, and it's such a beautiful feeling to sit under there and look at the glory.
That
Just
is very well described, John. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm connected. It just draws you, and of course nowadays you see a lot of satellites, but that's part of the game, and astrophotographers really hate them. But anyway, let me get back on target here. So, you know, then you get a telescope and you start to go out with your friends and you go to a thing called a star party where we're all hanging out under the stars, looking at all these magnificent objects. And you always want a good buddy with a big scope because you're assured that you're going to get a really good view of some of those larger galaxies and faint objects that are millions and millions of light years away. But you're actually looking at the photons with your eye, and that traveled for millions of light years.
Yes.
If you put it into perspective, the distance, you cannot comprehend that kind of distance. I mean, you would have to be an AI computer to figure comfortably how to calculate that kind of distance. So we usually look at many premier objects. Like right now is the summer triangle is approaching the 3 stars. I think it's Vega, Altair, and Deneb. And there's a lot of showpiece objects there. This happens to be M13, and this is a view that you would get typically with a 16-inch telescope in a relatively dark site. I mean, at a Bortle 1, it's going to be much more impressive. I was doing these sketches to represent what I'm getting from a less dark site, you know, more light polluted, typical for most people these days.
Mhm.
This is a sketch of M51, a galaxy in Ursa Major. Again, light polluted skies and low level altitude. And this is a very good view from my location with a 16-inch.
Mhm.
And that's what you can expect to see in most views, is something like this. And if the conditions do get better and you're higher up and you have larger aperture and the atmosphere allows you to use it, well, then you can start to crank the power up. This is another object we typically look at in the summertime. This is the Apple Core Nebula, also known as M27, or some people call it the Dumbbell Nebula because it looks like a dumbbell, a weight. This was a sketch I did, and I used the Malin Cam to get some of the color. You do see some color in the larger apertures, but very faint. And some people are more susceptible to reds and more faint light, you know, than others. So depending on your eyesight and the way your eye is built, you know, that'll allow you to see red in some objects like the Trifid or the Orion Nebula. It's really good to see color.
Mhm.
So this is what carves my perspective. This is my new scope
Look at that
called
thing.
the Leviathan.
Oh my.
Now that dwarf, I want to see that
That's a
dwarf
big
put some hurt
telescope.
on me when I plug in my night vision, and we'll
Yeah.
see what the dwarf will do. No, that dwarf is deadly. I can't even believe it. It's amazing. So it shows you to get a view like what I'm seeing in this telescope, you could buy a dwarf at
Yeah.
like 1/1000th the cost and a lot less work. But it's nice to see it with your own eye,
Yes.
to collect the photons. And this is our location, Mount Pinos in California. It's approximately 9,000 feet up, very, very transparent skies, and you're kind of in a bowl. So, but with this instrument, it will change your perspective altogether
Hmm.
because this is more what you would see from Mount Pinos with this instrument,
Yeah.
looking with probably a 10 millimeter ethos eyepiece in the 30 with the paracore
Mm-hmm.
at 150-inch focal length with a 4-inch secondary. You're almost looking like a refractor at this point. So the contrast is unbelievable. And again, it's very affected by location and conditions. Here's another example of what the Leviathan can do. It can pull in the light. This is the Dumbbell Nebula, M27, the same as the Apple Core, but this shows you a lot more depth because I used a couple filters, an NPB filter, 2-inch, and also the O3 Gen 3 filter that give you various wavelengths of light, which really enhance the nebula. So this is the depiction of a view with those filters, a combined view. It's absolutely amazing to see these in the eyepiece. At 1,350 light years, I think it is. This is another example, M63 galaxy. The next few galaxies in M51, they're part of our local group, which is a group that are binded by gravitational forces. So they're all kind of in the same vicinity of space, a huge, huge area, unfathomable distance. But they're all connected together in a network of, I think they're called AFNs or IFNs. It's a filamentary structures that are around galaxies and with very large apertures and dark, dark skies. You can see them. So this is roughly 25 to 30 million light years, the local group, the Sunflower Galaxy. This is called the Whale Galaxy, NGC 4631. It's also in the springtime galaxy group with M64, 63, 45, 65, and a whole bunch of different galaxies that reside in that area. This is a sketch, one of my latest. Very impressive view with the 30. Still kind of working on this because I haven't had the 30 that long, but there's also another galaxy right next to it called the hockey stick. To see them both in the same field of view is quite impressive. Now, this is my latest rendition of the Orion Nebula. And I must say about this nebula, I love this nebula. I did it in a monochromatic this time, just because the amount of time it took to get this here. If it did it in color, I'd be here another 3 times the amount of time to do this image. The Great Orion Nebula. And, it's nice because it's a wide field shot, so it really shows you some depth of this star-bearing region. Again, this resides about 1,350 light years away as well. It's kind of a unique position in space. There's a lot of objects that reside in that part of space. Okay, now I'm going to go into my mornings for the last about a month. We've had beautiful weather after the clouds burn off. So we've had these incredible marine layers. I guess you would call it May gray or June gloom, but it's given way to some spectacular views. This is a 4:20 in the morning view. When I was going to Starbucks to get the coffee for the wife and I looked outside and I looked up, the clouds just parted, and there was the moon crescent illuminated with an eerie blue light, and then Venus just rising up with the moon. They were both just starting to rise. So that's a sketch. These are all sketches, most of them coming up. This was another one in the morning, or no, this was evening, excuse me. This was Jupiter and a crescent moon setting together. And to see them in the close proximity of each other is very interesting. It's like a conjunction, but not quite. A couple nights ago, I looked out and I saw Regulus and Mars right next to each other, very in same field of view. This was the morning. Now the sun's coming up. A beautiful crescent appears rising above my palm trees and my neighbors. This is a sketch. If you look close, that took me 4 days to do. Don't tell my wife because she doesn't like when I spend that long on these. Again, a cloudy morning. You know, most people wouldn't even think to look, but I am just enamored with the beauty of our earth and, you know, being here, looking up and just always knowing that it's just magnificence and glory to see these views and know that we're part of something greater than us. And we're here breathing this air, looking at this God-created view and just, man, spectacular just to be here and enjoy these. I look forward to every day. Just if the clouds clear, I'm out. Here's another one. Beautiful crystal blue sky with the wispy clouds coming through, and then this stellar crescent moon, which just locks you in, you know, being part of this earth, and that moon is our savior. If we didn't have that moon, we wouldn't have this weather and a stable climate. It would just, everything would be chaos. This one was really spectacular that day. The clouds in the sky, the color of the blue sky was tremendous. I do use polarizing filters as well. Something if you're going to do daytime viewing, the polarizer filter it's a saving grace. It just cuts the light. And if you get that right tilt, it really enhances the contrast. This was a smoky, hazy one that morning. The clouds barely burned off and then they clouded back in. But this one, when it cleared, it was bright and cheerful. Just wanted me to head forward, greet the day. You know, that girl's presentation about space camp, I never had a space camp. And but well, you know, we had a band
They have
camp.
adult space camp though.
Well, no, not the Diddy camp, not that one. No, I'm talking about band camp is what I went to. And I played the fool.
Oh, there you go.
I mean the flute. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that. This was a cool one too. It was like just got like cleared and there was still some haze, but the moon was just shining bright through, and what a killer view.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you. Just a simple moonrise. Who would think? You know why I see these though? Because I'm always looking up whenever I go out. And then when I look up, I'm connected. I now know there's nothing that can bother me now. Now I'll go into some beautiful atmospheric Earth pictures that I do. You know, the Earth's atmosphere, it's life-giving, protects us. I mean, it's everything for us. And the satellites fly through there. They love that. Anyway, this is my moon bow. I created this. You've probably seen it before. But I've been looking out lately, and we've had these weird rain events and thunderstorms and clouds and beautiful sunsets and many rainbows that I've been a pleasure to see because I am looking up every day. I just keep looking up and everything is a-okay. Look at the color and the beautiful atmosphere that we breathe, and all our agriculture relies on, the oceans, the beautiful big blue with, of course, spectral tints of beautiful refracted light shining through the clouds. Man, it's good to be alive.
Yeah. Beautiful.
This is
Double
a
rainbow.
Yeah, I just did this one. It was a beautiful, I don't know why I'm so blessed, but I see so many rainbows. You know, some people see Skittles. I see rainbows.
You see rainbows. Look at this one. This is cool.
Yeah. And you know, when you see the colors of the flowers, boy, if they didn't have that rain, they wouldn't grow to that beautiful spectral magenta, that gorgeous rose with the green that just pops out of there. And, you know, we're a part of everything. Even plants respond to us. These are just a couple. This one I created. I saw these beautiful flowers and they kind of went back into the background and just draw you in to a beautiful feeling of bright, colorful flowers to cheer you up. This is my latest rose that I managed to see. I actually painted a lot of this interior with a new technique I've been trying to use. So another beautiful rose created from our planet.
Very nice.
Now, as I always finish with my little buddy, my little alien boss. He's my rock, my little friend.
Is that a real blanket?
Yes, I got it for Christmas.
Daddy's little alien.
He gives me so much joy. You know, he's out there with me looking at the flowers, and
yeah,
you know, when I'm doing the moon pictures, he just lays down and waits. He's such a good dog. I feel terrible sometimes that I do that to him, but at least I got somebody to view with. He was a little perplexed there because he was like wanted to go, and I said in a few minutes. He didn't understand.
Yeah. How old is your dog?
17.
Whoa. He's
Yes.
up there. He's up there. I have a
Yeah.
15-year-old dog, you know. Yeah.
And oh, they're so special. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the
right.
hardest part is when that time comes. It's
Yeah.
tough. It's
Yeah.
almost too tough for me now because the two about killed me on the last one. This one, I don't know. I'm going to have to look up and pray.
Yeah.
But we still have time. So we're going to kill
Still
the
got
Star
time.
Party circuit
right.
this year. He's going
That's
to all
right.
my Star Parties. I bring him with me
Mhm.
because he doesn't care. He wants to go wherever I go.
There you go.
And I want to go to the stars.
There you
That's
go.
where we're going. So I want to say thank you, everyone, for coming
Thank you.
tonight and
Thanks,
checking
John.
out our presentations. I'm
Thanks,
going to go
John.
live this year. I have to do it. I'm getting closer, but years going by fast. I better hurry.
Hey, anybody that's listening here, if you're in the Northwest Arkansas area and want to come by Explore Scientific on July 3rd, we will have a company party, but we allow visitors. So July 3rd, starting at about maybe 11 o'clock, middle of the day. So
Solar observing.
some solar observing, probably.
Good.
Yep. Thank you
great.
so much, John.
Thanks, guys.
you.
Missed
All right.
Adrian tonight, but Caesar, it's a pleasure to see you. Are we going to see Caesar's
Yeah.
Omega?
Yes,
I'm
yes,
excited.
I have in my, let me show you. Let me share the visor here.
Did you see that 30, Caesar? My 30?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me show you if here, I think.
When you come out, you can view.
Share device here. Okay. Now is, I think that I don't know why. I don't know if you can see the here. Okay. Now.
Drum roll.
Yeah. But let me show you much better because it's maybe from the phone I can show. You are watching my cell phone now. Okay. Yes. But I can show you. I don't know if somebody is going to crash. Terrible. Wow.
You got it working now, huh?
No, yes, I don't know why. Yeah, it's going to crash my cell phone because it's making at the same time driving the. Wow,
Scope.
I never crashed my.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Wow. Well, stop share. Okay. No, I never crashed. Okay, but we can try now because the picture is ready. Okay, perfect. Okay, and now I can. Okay, perfect. Well, I'm trying to share again. Yes. Okay, cerrar. Well, I think that maybe I need a new cell phone, no smartphone, no problem.
You could
Okay.
get that Trump phone, that new phone.
Sure.
It's I don't know. Any phone's a good phone nowadays. The new ones are they get better.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's a medium Android device, medium level, but come on.
Our phones today, they're more powerful than probably the first
the computer or the computer from the Apollo 13.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say.
Sure. Totally. No, it's crazy that we are telling to the smartphone something magic, and it's impossible.
Now you're running the Sky Safari as well or you're just using the Air?
Yes.
Air dedicated.
Sure. And now, well, I make all this with the. Let me check if I can start. Okay, connecting. View device. Perfect. Okay. And I'll try to share again. Okay.
That background shot, your screen, is that a view you have close by? You can see the Magellanic Clouds just rising up like that?
I think that Magellanic Cloud, yes, now is in the right altitude to show you.
Right.
The Tarantula Nebula. If Scott agree, we can try to make a picture.
I agree.
Okay. If you because sometimes I ask first because maybe his wife is calling to go to take a dinner, or
That's not maybe, but
that's not maybe.
Well,
No. Yes. Sorry, but Cesar asked me because I have in his field. Yes, I am the guild. No problem. Yes.
That's right.
I was totally with the idea to go to dinner, but Cesar.
All of us that are
I can say him not.
This is the suffrage of amateur astronomers, male or female, husband or wife, it doesn't matter.
Oh, yes.
We all have to pay our dues.
Yeah. That's
okay.
For sure.
Let me, because I think that we have, okay. Now I have in my gallery Resonance. Okay.
Wow.
No, this is incredible.
Jeez,
that is
you gotta
beautiful.
be kidding
Look
me.
at that.
That's a globular cluster.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Did they say that might have been a galaxy cruising by? It got too close, or is it just?
That's one of the ideas behind it. Sure.
That's probably how the black holes, or.
Yes. Two astronomers from Chile made a work. Maybe you, Scott, can find in Google, because they say that they discover, or they think they made the calculations to say that probably inside the
there's black holes.
Have two black holes, because actually it's the core. Omega Centauri cluster is the core of all the galaxy that was totally absorbed the stars and materials go to the Milky Way, our galaxy. And this is only the seed, only the core. Yes, it's a lonely core, no more. But I think that they have 10 millions of stars, or so 100 millions of stars actually. And it's very interesting, because it's I took this picture with the dual band filter inside the dwarf telescope. But I think that for this smart telescope, it's amazing.
Yeah, and if you process that, you could get a lot out of it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's just your raw stack. If you put that through Pixel Insight, if you go to what is it, that big Astrobin, there's some dwarf pictures that you can't even believe that it's been done with a dwarf, because it's so good. It's unbelievable.
Yes. if you keep the raw image
Right.
separately, you can make a much better work. But I think that for a live show like
Yes.
the Global Star Party, this is perfect because
Sure.
I remember John, that the time that we couldn't stop with a lot of objects from the Explore Scientific 100 EXOS 100
Oh
Monk.
yeah, that's
With the, yes, sometimes I put this this Global Star Party. I don't remember the number, but I like to.
5128.
Yeah. How do you remember? Thank you.
Well, I know
And
I'm
I
I'm
put the
addicted.
video. Yes, I put the video in my store. That is an optics and telescope store, and the people can believe that because I have the part of where Scott, you and me were showing, okay, I have the Swarm Nebula, I have the blah, blah, blah. I said, come on, this is from the balcony. And this, I remember that night, that was a wonderful, because it was maybe in September where we have, in this part from my balcony, I have a Scorpio and Sagittario constellations, and here a best part of this. Well, we are returning to connect to, not to, I have connected the dwarf, and
Man,
we are
that dwarf.
moving to the Tarantula Nebula. It's okay, we can try. Okay, this is connecting again.
So you're in winter right now, is that correct?
Yes, right,
Okay.
right, yes. We are going to the winter. We are in autumn because 2021, and in 4 days is winter. I don't
So
remember the
So how cold
yes,
is it
because it's
there?
20. Yes, this year, yes, it's 20. It's in June 20 this year. The how do you say the picture?
That's crazy because December and October, November, those are more like Christmassy, Thanksgiving, winter months.
Yes,
But it's
and
flipped
for us,
there.
Christmas. And for us, Christmas is we are using to share.
It's 120 in Christmas.
And we, as our Asian, mostly of Argentinian people that came from Europe, their grandfathers, their grandfathers,
Right.
and you know that it's summer, but we eat the same things like in the North Hemisphere where it's winter, and we eat very very strong foods for
keep you warm.
winter in summer, and we still make the same crazy thing all years. I say, why we don't choose a salad, please? No,
Because steak Milanese, your bread is so good there, and the steak, is some of the best in the world. I ate that steak.
Yes. But we still eating some things from our Asians grandfathers,
Right.
from Italy, Spain. Where is
the pastas?
The pastas every year. Yes,
right.
Yes. Tonight we eat, for example, but is Argentina? We have a lot of different. That we have very different immigrants.
Right.
We of course that we have a lot of Spain and Italy foods, but when you start to talk, for example, tonight we took a dinner of more German style food with chucrut, with the salchichas, German salchichas. Because you have so many cultures, and this is connected with all people that came to Argentina in the 19th century, the 20th century, not only from Italy or Spain, but I know that, for example, Irish are a number that is not so small in Argentina. We have a huge Argentina, for example, many cultures connect the Argentinian things about the Nazis, and we say, come on, but we have one of the most populated shoes population. In my tower, for example, more of the middle are people that are from Jude religion, and it's a mix of culture of all times. Buenos Aires, of course, many cities in Argentina have that have different cultures. This is
I bet you have like a fusion of your cultures with your food. You must have some incredible blends of the different, ethnic foods. It must be incredible to eat some of those meals.
Yes, is where the fusion. I think that, for example, Peru or Mexico have more wonderful foods.
Right.
Peru is amazing. For example, they have in South America, Peru. I think that is the most variable about. They have like a Chinese food with Peru food, and they call it chifa food. Every region, and for example, in Argentina, we have maybe 10 different fishes, and we don't eat a lot of fishes. We really eat a small quantity of fishes. But in Peru, they have a more quantity of fish from the Pacific, and they prepare a beautiful, incredibles with flavors, amazing plates. Chile, another thing. In Brazil is incredible the different things that they have. And Argentina is more fusion from the grandfathers.
Right.
I think that is mostly. We have few quantity of plates that you say, okay, this is especially from here. Or the asado, the barbecue, have the style of Argentinian or Uruguay or south of Brazil. We use the same special things of flavors, chimichurri. We call it chimichurri or something that it's like a sauce. Like a sauce for the meat in the asado.
Yeah, I've had it. It's good.
And we call it chimichurri. And we say, what is chimichurri? Because it's not a Spain word.
It's like a salsa, right?
It is a salsa, yes. But the name chimichurri was from an England man that worked in the 19th century in the trains, tramways, They called to another Argentinians people that was made asado barbecue. Give me curry, give me curry, and the gauchos.
Chimichurri.
Yeah, give me chimichurri. Okay, chimichurri. Okay, chimichurri. And now today the name of this sauce is chimichurri. I don't know why, but it's incredible. Well, we are going to, we can try Tarantula Nebula.
Hey, those 4 green marks that make the square in the center, that's where your field of view is of the dwarf?
Sorry, John, that I couldn't understand. The question that you told me.
Oh, I saw the green square in your actual
view. How many? Yes, here you have the field is 295 degrees, near to 3 degrees by 1.66. O sea, 2 degrees 95, near to 3 degrees, like 6 moons.
Wow. That's a pretty good field of view.
6 months, yes. It's a big field of view.
That's incredible. Can you
Ah,
bin
it's-
that? You bin it and get more magnification or no?
No, only the thing that you show that I put with my fingers.
Yeah.
But this particularly thing, okay, 14 degrees. I don't know if it's enough.
It's kind of
But-
low, but it should work.
We can
It's
try.
bright.
We can
It's
try.
bright.
Okay.
It
Okay, we
almost
can
looks
try.
like an upside down swan nebula.
Yeah, maybe later we was talking about food, and I don't know if Scott go to take a dinner.
He might have had to go eat. Scotty, are you there?
Scott,
Scott
tell me
doesn't-
if we
he
can
doesn't-
stop. We can stop and make.
I know he doesn't need food or sleep. Scott he's a machine. He keeps going.
No, I think that the last time that we start to visit object, we finish at the 3 a.m. of the morning.
Oh man, we don't want to do that with
Remember-
Scott. He'll never have me on again.
Yeah.
You better hurry.
Okay, go to exit. I don't know if it's real. No, it's
No.
I don't know. I don't know why. No,
That's what you
because
see when-
because I think no, it's impossible. Okay,
No, you're
Because-
in the light. You're looking through the light.
sure, but it's incredible because look where it is, and
I can't believe you're not that it's not even outside. It's indoors. That's
yes,
crazy.
and the
It's
glasses.
amazing. Yeah.
That
No,
just
I-
blows my mind.
So yes, it's incredible.
You
And
must
the
have paid a lot.
reflection is from the walls of the our glasses, the walls of the balcony.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can stop and we can no the technology is really good because I don't know how.
Can you see what your neighbor's watching on TV?
Of course that is totally possible, but we can have some kind of
I'm
problems.
joking.
No, yes, I know, but I think that many customers that bought me telescopes no joking.
Oh, hey, is the Hamburger Galaxy above
Yes,
or below?
I going. Yes. I thought in
Centaurus
this
A.
C77. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Here.
39. Wait, 51. Yeah, 5139, I believe.
Yes. Or 577. Caldwell.
Yeah.
77. Yes.
That's what threw me for a loop the other night when I was looking for Omega. It said Caldwell 80, and I don't usually refer to my objects through Caldwell. It's either NGC,
Yeah.
IC,
It's a beautiful object for
Live.
your drops, for your
Right.
sketch, because I was watching your beautiful drops.
thank you.
And really, I appreciate your art. Is amazing.
Did you
It's
like that
great.
whale? That whale Galaxy 4630. I bet you could get the hockey stick and the whale.
Yeah, we are making a small star party in a hotel where we went in April. In this the same picture of the hotel where I am. This hotel is the Lauenco Hotel, and we are making a meeting of observation and astrophotography in October. October 16, 17, and 19. The price for the entire foods and how do you say
The whole event.
the foods and yes, and the place by person is only 270,000 pesos. That is around 250 US.
Okay.
And really, it's a beautiful opportunity if you like to came here, because it's at 1,000 kilometers from Buenos Aires. In
Well, I would
Mendoza,
love to
and
go
it's a
there.
very nice place to eat drinks, and well, here I think that we have. Sorry. Okay, I think that we have in the middle, and we start to make pictures.
I
Okay.
see a couple little stars.
Yes, we can watch now, but I think that I prefer you start using. I don't know if for a Galaxy Duo One is okay. I prefer Filtro Astro, that is like a CLC filter. Okay, and we are 20 minutes by. Oh my God.
30.
It's a yes, or 15, 30. 15 is, I think the 15 is enough.
Yeah, it should be.
70 gain, 80, 70s. Okay.
Do you like this better than using your other system that you were using when you were presenting before? It seems to be a little more straightforward. I mean, as far as everything at your fingertips.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I couldn't see the how I didn't see, sorry, how put the number, but because this time this kind of graphic how do you say graphic interface sometimes it's with the fingers, and for me that sometimes I'm not the most yes, my ability with fingers. I am X generation, and I use a lot of tools and things in my entire life that actually my fingers are not so good for. I fight with my cell phone actually with my fingers and the letters I need to return and write
a stylus. You got to get a stylus, like Android.
Sure, yeah. But at this time, I am still using Android because everything. If some people say, "Okay, go to iOS to the iPhone," I say no, because it's the same people that use iPhone, and you tell you can try Android. No, thank you.
No, my wife.
For me,
a lot of people
learning game. Yes, I don't know how I tried this unit dwarf, but yes.
So you're with that, guys, gentlemen, I need to call it a night.
Okay.
It started to. Yeah. It's the galaxy is starting to appear.
Yes,
and yes. It's a work in progress.
Yes, we will see your image at the next Global Star Party.
Totally, yes,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Totally, yes.
All right.
Totally, Scott. Agree with you. Thank you very much. You deserve rest in your home, and and I can. When your wife tell me, you're Caesar. Okay, no, I know that she know me. Yes, I know that.
You're in trouble now, Caesar.
I hope.
No.
Caesar and I have been talking about doing an astronomy event in Buenos Aires. Okay.
Yes.
And we hope to do it next year. And I hope to bring my wife down there because I think she would love it. So
yes. My wife Evangelina told me that I need to know to the Robert wife. Yes.
Yeah, it will be fun. It will be fun.
Yeah.
You have to
and
cook.
for if and we
wife
should
that
do this,
support
so-
us. That support us, and they are really they're real heroes.
Yeah. Wow.
And say hello to your wife, Scott.
Thank you.
Very
I will let her know. All right. Thanks,
Okay.
guys. Thank you.
Have a great evening, and thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Bye, Caesar. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Really, for me the same.
I can't wait to see you next time.
Yes. We are prepared the picture that I am making now. Okay.
I got to go live, man. I haven't done that yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Have a great
Guys,
evening.
have a good night and
Bye-bye.
keep
Have a good
looking up,
night.
everybody. And thanks for
Good night.
tuning in to the Global Star Party.